Okie
Uh,
dokies.
just noticed their drop down menu for the magic for the components as a drop down for verbal, somatic, or material, or any combination of that. That saves me seconds of my life.
Were you just waiting for me to sit down?
I keep telling her no.
Mm-hmm. You cats are spoiled. Spoiled rotten. Isn't she? Oh, and down you go.
Yeah, I need to take better notes.
Aren't you glad I do the videos?
Uh-huh.
I am. I was watching the patent office video, and I put notes in there for myself in the comments, like when different things were listed.
That's actually a pretty good idea. But yeah, it's only until I start to like go through previous games that I realized just how poorly my notes are. Like I don't even understand half the things that I've written down.
I realize he takes poor notes.
All right. I think we're all here, right?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, fantastic. Does anyone want to do a brief recap?
So we all lost our memory, and now we're going shopping.
We don't.
Yep.
There is no recap because there's no memory.
Sounds like it.
That's fantastic. I like that. Well, I think the last thing is I discovered I had the friggin' the notes I was supposed to
going to the
get in my
magic
bag.
shop.
Yeah.
When I went to check out my gun.
You were digging through your inventory to show someone something, and then that kind of just fell out. But yeah, so yeah, you guys, the train ride takes about, I think it's about 5 or 6 hours to get there, during which largely uneventful. At one part there was like a brief commotion up on the near the front end of the passengers compartment of some sort of like some sort of disagreement or argument between two individuals, but that quickly died down as they moved to another passage.
Milo, are we in the car by ourselves? Like we have our own?
You have your own carriage. You have your own like side cabin, of which there are probably 5 or 6 down each side. On both sides of a corridor running down the center.
Well, if we have, I put it in the chat there. I think it was in. Can't remember if I did it in Roll20. I'll have to scroll up, but I know I did some of it um, in Discord, where he's creating illusions and transforming them to tell his story to our newest friend. So he just kind of instead of just talking to her, he's telling a story through his illusions, like showing the halfling village and a garden and him reading to kids and it's changing. But if he's doing it in front of everybody else, he wouldn't. But if it's kind of open, he would do that. Or excuse me, closed, he would do that.
Yeah. There's a door to be closed.
Can you guys hear me? Where's Park 5?
His weapons and whatnot, and he knows he's going to a magic shop. He usually doesn't carry any more than 100 gold on him, but the fact that they're going to magic is very expensive, and he knows he's going to need to bring some extra.
Yeah, you recall most items were somewhere in the ballpark between like 300 something gold to. Well, there was that Cape of the Montebank that was ridiculously priced. Like it was like 8,000 gold or something.
Yeah, super expensive, which it should be. I will. At some point, I got an item. I didn't know if it was a cloak of resistance or protection. I hadn't used it yet, and after the illusion show is over, I would cast ritually identify on it to see what it is.
Okay, and this was the cloak that you picked up from.
I think it was from the butcher.
Yeah, it was from the Bloodworks laboratory, I think. The first one with the giant beating heart.
Wasn't it cursed and didn't we get rid of it?
Yeah, it was cursed initially.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, let me get rid of it out of my inventory.
I believe you guys decursed it or something, didn't you?
I thought we just put it away. Or we used it to cover a body.
No big deal. I'll just take it out of my inventory. I missed that somehow.
Yeah, I seem to
Oh,
recall
no.
that it was a cloak of protection, but it made you vulnerable to some kind of damage. I forgot
Yeah,
exactly what type of
We
damage
still
it
have
was.
it. You did identify it, and it was vulnerability to, I want to say, fire or acid?
Yeah, I believe it was acid.
Oh, we got that picking up, we picked that up on underground, when we were fighting the butcher. Not underground, but in his home.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, he dropped it behind as he was leaving, and initially you were under the impression that it was a cloak of protection, but after identifying, you realize that it's actually a subtly cursed item that resembles a cloak of protection, but like it has the same effect.
Maybe it will
But-
have some. If I still have it, might be able to figure something out later on, what to do with it. So I guess I'll have it folded up and tucked away.
Precisely. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, the train arrives at Willowsbury without much further ado. You like I said, you pass through, you pass over the two bridges that cross over the switchback in the river before it passes into a long tunnel. The train's shutters, windows come down when it passes into the tunnel to prevent like the coal fumes, etc., from entering the cabins themselves. And afterwards, it passes out of the tunnel system, comes out on the other side, and you ride for another, I'd say, about an hour or so before you get to Willowsbury. Whereupon the train stops. Doesn't seem like this is its final destination per se. It looks like it's continuing out further out onto the line, but it's stopping here for about half an hour or so. And a brief look at the conductor and like the listings and etc. on the bulletin boards shows that there is a train that heads back towards Helios in 2 hours.
Milo makes note.
Well, the first thing I'd do when we get out is I would take Marmaduke for a walk and see if there's anything like to eat on the way to the magic shop. If there is,
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
get something for me and something for him.
Yeah, definitely. It's a small town. It's like nowhere near, like coming from. It's essentially going from like New York to, I don't know, some nowhere town.
It's like going to New York to Newark.
Nah, Newark's pretty big. Like Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It's in the middle of the woods and mountains.
That one.
Take your word for it. But yeah, you know, the train station is up on a. I wouldn't really say it's a hill, but it's up on an incline, and it overlooks the town. You can see that the town is laid out around a green circle in the center of town, surrounded by like about, I'd say about 30 or 40 buildings, with a hill that rises up on the northwestern side, on the shoreline of the river, where it appears there's some sort of chapel or church or some kind of building there at the top of the hill. In fact, I will throw you guys to a map. Can everyone see everything?
Oh, I can.
Okay. You guys are currently off the map in
Yes.
the eastern direction,
Okay.
about 100 feet away.
Nice map.
And from your survey, this appears to be some sort of a tavern or some sort, a tavern or an inn. It probably has, like, sells things to eat. You know that this building over here last time is where you guys ran into the magic shop, which name is Micros Magical Mysterium. Thanks, Thalia.
Alliteration. Love it.
No, I wouldn't have remembered if I hadn't gone and watched the video again.
Is for like a park or like a druid thing?
It appears to be the town, quote unquote, and I'm using air quotes here, center, but it appears to be a circle with a whole bunch of well, funnily enough, willow trees growing in it.
Fantastic. That's where I'm gonna go with Marmaduke. He's gotta pee. He's doing the I gotta pee dance. Look at him. I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever owned a big dog, but when they do the I gotta pee dance, everybody knows.
I can't claim to ever know what that dance looks like.
They start whining and looking at you and kind of jumping around. Well, not really jumping around, shuffling around.
Stamping their feet
And then they piss all over the floor.
if you don't let them out.
Okay. So, what's the rest of the party doing while Obadiah starts to head off with his big dog?
Where's the train station at?
It's about 100 feet off this eastern side of the map. The main road would be here.
Okay.
Milo, if other people are going to the tavern because somebody mentioned about something to eat, he would go with them.
Arthur's gonna follow Thalia about 20 feet behind her just to make sure nobody puts things in her pockets.
Slap that glyph away.
All right. Roll me a perception. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, you hang a certain amount of distance back to make sure no one is going around putting things in Thalia's pocket again and causing you guys all manners of grief.
In my defense, it was at the docks, not here.
Yeah. Wasn't anywhere near. No, it wasn't even at the docks. It was at some random. It was at a seedy bar that
At the docks.
you were taught. Yeah. But yeah, you guys come into this place. This structure over here appears to be some sort of it looks a little bit like the town hall or whatever the equivalent for such a small town would be, like the municipal building. And there's some sort of like you guys pass the sounds of some sort of like someone hitting an anvil with a hammer. And at first you think it's probably some sort of like a blacksmith shop or something, but you quickly realize as you glance in through like the open door and wide barn doors that it's a farrier, a smith that makes horseshoes and etc. And there's an attached stable to the place as well.
Without walking the whole town, is there like there's not like a directory or signs that point to other businesses, are there? Is there?
No, there oddly enough, well, not maybe it is odd because in Helios there's signs pointing everywhere. There's signs for every street. In this place, some of the buildings have plaques on them, but most of the buildings are just nondescript, like they don't have any kind of signage, and there's actually no signage for the roads. In fact, only some of the main roads even seem to be paved. The rest of them just have kind of like planks thrown across them in the dirt. Well, it's pretty dry, so yeah, at the moment it's dirt.
Okay. So if no one went to the tavern, I think Milo would take the bit of time that he has to walk around the town looking for a tinker shop or something along those lines.
Okay.
And along the way, just see what else he'd see. I think he would go. I guess he would follow Marmaduke and Obi for a while towards the center of town, and then kind of keep on going, maybe up towards 6, and then back around the docks towards 7, 2, and then back to the tavern.
Okay. So You find a small shop, and it's actually a pretty small building. It's one of the buildings near 7. And there's a humble signage that just says. Actually, all it says is Tinkerer, and it has the signage beside it has a stamped or emblazoned cogwheel on the side of the building.
If it is open, he would head on in. What time of day is it?
This is roughly about noon, and it is not open. In fact, the place seems. I won't say deserted. There's an air of disuse about the building, like as if no one's operated this building for at least a couple of weeks.
He would look in any windows that it had, just kind of window shopping, see if there's
Okay,
anything
yeah.
inside.
There is only one storefront window, and it's got like some sort of
Soap or something over it.
no. And there's a storefront window, and you look inside it, and there's various like displays facing the front, and then behind that there's a counter / workbench of some sort, and the display lacks any major items. Seemingly either the previous owner took them down, or you can only speculate. But you can see beyond into like the inside of the shop on the counters. There's various like kind of like clamps and tools and what appears to be some sort of a no, sorry, not an eyeglass, like a spectacle, like a bispectacle, held in some sort of clasp or something with a magnifying glass positioned over it. It almost seemingly like whoever was working on it just left it there.
So it hasn't been occupied. Looks like it hasn't been ransacked or anything. Looks like, in fact, it looks the opposite, like suspended.
Yeah,
Time.
almost like someone just like stepped out in the middle of working and then just like never came back for over a week.
Okay. I think you would just take note of that. And is this half of the building that takes up the Tinkerer's shop, and the other half is something else? Right south
yeah.
of that? And what is that thing that's right south to that?
So you're talking. It's actually the building to them. I'll move the box. Are you talking about?
Oh, I thought this building was like shared. I thought that, okay, that's a little tiny building in front.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a very tiny shop.
So what is the building that is next door to it? He looks at that.
It looks to be selling some sort of it's some sort of like a I don't even know how to explain it. It looks to be some sort of mechanism, well, various types of mechanisms for operating on ships, like certain cranks, and it's not even a shop per se. Like there's no signage or anything. You get the feeling that it's probably owned by some kind of shipping concern.
Okay, it's got like hoists and things for hauling up the stuff that they're loading into the ships and repairing the ship and things like that.
Kind of more stuff like rigging and bits and pieces of machinery that would go on boats.
Okay. Is there anybody there?
Yeah, there is a man there in the back. He's actually currently reading a book. He's just like seated on a table, one leg propped up on like a bench or a chair or something, and just reading a book.
So if he doesn't do anything when Milo approaches, Milo is slowly gonna. He's sitting in a chair or on the other side of a desk.
So he's seated not at a desk. He's just seated on a chair. He's got like one leg propped up against a stool that's in front of him. He's kind of just leaned back in the chair and he's just reading a book while there's just like a sprawl of like cranks and hoists and pulleys, organized and stacked neatly on the different sides of the room.
Milo will go up and he will peek up, like slowly. He's not trying to stealth in. He's trying to walk up, but somewhat slowly, and peek over the book. And I would imagine his hat coming up first, and then he sees his eyes, and he says, "Oh, hello there, young man," or whatever the person would be.
Yeah, it is a. I wouldn't say he's young per se, but yeah, it is like a late 20s, like human. He gives like he makes like a startled sound, like he's surprised, and he almost tips over in his chair, and then he's oh, you gave me a fright.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, young man. I was looking for the tinker. He's not in next door.
Oh, Jerry? Yeah. I think he went out of town about a week ago. Something about a ship run aground. He like points up to the north. He says, I've no idea when he'll be back, I'm afraid.
I hope he's all right.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. He's like I said, these new paddle ships. I heard news that one of them broke down and ran aground, and they called him out to, I don't know, do tinker things. And he kind of shrugs.
Sounds like an important man.
He would like to think so. This guy says.
Oh, well, I'm glad it sounds like he's all right. I'm sorry I scared you. I do that to people from time to time. What's the best thing at the tavern to eat?
So, dog park. Who wrote that?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I agree with that person.
Yeah.
Did you clean
he
up
says,
after him?
It was just pee.
Yeah, and he says, well, and he like glances over to the back wall where there's a calendar. And he says, well, you know, I've actually never given it much thought. And he says, I mean, I usually enjoy a nice fruit pie when I'm over at the tavern.
Oh, my wife used to make fruit pies. I'll have to try it out.
Yes. Ask for Miranda. She's the cook there.
I'll do that. Thank you. And he holds out his hand, and he says, Milo.
Ah, Riffin. And he shakes your hand somewhat awkwardly.
Riffin. And
Yes, with an eye.
And he smiles and then abruptly walks away and towards the tavern.
Nice to meet you.
And he turns back and waves and smiles. But he keeps walking.
All right. You hear the sounds of someone flipping a page in a book.
What?
By the way, did anyone go with Milo, or did he just wander off by himself?
I think we're all following it along besides Obi.
Okay, so Obi is the one who wandered off by himself. Okay,
Dog
well,
is
not really
moving.
by himself. He has Marmaduke.
Killer dog.
And once Marmaduke's done relieving himself, I'm going to head right to the magic store.
Okay, you're not waiting for the rest of your companions.
Nope.
All right. What were not Rob, Thalia and Arthur and Seraphina doing?
Arthur's just following Thalia, and if she goes into a shop, he'll stand at the door and make sure that whenever she exits the door, nobody bumps into her, etc., etc.
So obviously, Arthur's staring at Thalia's ass.
My word.
He probably doesn't even see it that way, or realize that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So you get it's a small town, so you get, although it's close enough to Helios that it sees quite a bit of custom from, trade ships and etc. passing through, and a bit of thoroughfare coming through from the railway station, especially since the train just arrived and a lot of people have disembarked. So yeah, there are quite a few people who kind of like pass you guys on the streets. None of them seem to pay you any particular attention per se. Like, obviously you get the odd like people who nod or look in your direction as you pass. At one point you actually do find a pair of guardsmen in familiar uniforms, although slightly different embroidery. They're standing like on near one of the piers on the dock. They don't really give you like the stink eye, but it's clear that they track your movement as you walk across their field of view. As for Obadiah, you see a carriage pull up in front of the main building in town. A rather ornate-looking carriage, and from the back of the carriage, so not the side, from the back of the carriage, there's a folded ramp so the door comes open, and the door turns into a folded ramp that extends.
The main building here.
Yeah, that folds out until it touches the ground, and a pair of very, very, very finely dressed I would almost describe them as like like the British ceremonial guards in front of the Buckingham Palace and stuff, like almost dressed like that.
With
that kind of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would watch it as much as I can without making it obvious that I'm staring. Like
Right.
maybe position the dog between us and them.
Yeah, they're quite far away. They're probably at least 50 or 60 feet away, and they don't seem to be looking in your direction. Instead, they escort some sort of elvish gentleman into the building, and the carriage is well, not before closing the back door of the carriage, obviously, and the carriage is kind of just left there. It's drawn by two sets of fairly fine-looking draft horses with like combed manes.
Gotcha. It's whatever. It's not the first time I've seen a fancy thing, but it's pretty. It sticks out like a sore thumb in this area.
Yeah, it definitely is. This is something you'd expect to see in Rosewood or near the Eternal Palace.
Gotcha. I'll
In
keep
fact,
it.
I think you actually do recognize the uniforms as Imperial Guards.
No, well, we don't have any beef with them, so it's not a big deal. 'Cause I can't think of us having any beef with them.
Not as far as you can remember.
No.
We bribed
Just the
pretty
one
well.
guy.
Yeah, so
In fact-
I'm making kind of a small note of it when I'm heading into the shop.
I'm actually trying to find an image of what I mean, but I misplaced, and now I can't find it again. But it's fine.
Wait, what'd you lose? Hello?
By the way, yeah, Serafina, we haven't heard you say a single thing during this
Oh, she's
entire
typing
time. Is your
over-
mic working?
She's typing over in the room chat.
Yeah, but is her mic working?
I'm being a fat ass and eating noodles.
She's
Okay.
following a random mouse.
And eating noodles.
Right, so you're following your mouse.
I just think it's a random mouse.
Yeah, it's a random mouse
Oh.
she's gonna replace her mouse with.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna say
you're
her
following-
original mouse died, but she has no memory of it since, everybody's memory got erased, so she assumed it scampered off somewhere. And so she thinks this new mouse is her mouse, but it's just gonna replace the mouse.
Okay. So I will assume eventually you guys all make it to the Mysterium, right? The magical, Mycroft's magical
Yes.
Mysterium. Okay. Well, Obadiah gets there first, obviously.
I'd make sure it'd be okay if I bring Marmaduke in. He's very well behaved. He won't
Yeah.
get.
There's a familiar-looking elderly gentleman behind the counter, and he appears to be talking to actually someone who looks fairly familiar. I mean, not familiar in the sense that you know them, but you saw them on the train while you were coming up here. They came up with the train with you. Seems like you weren't the only people who decided to come to Willowsbury to visit the magic shop. And there's a brief exchange in a low tone that you can't quite hear
I read their
exactly
lip?
the words. Yeah, you can read Mycroft's lips because the lady's back is turned to you, and he's basically quoting a price. Not really like quoting a price, but just like almost as if like just stating what it is. So I guess he is quoting a price. Yeah. In which case, the lady basically reaches into her purse and withdraws a small pouch, which kind of doesn't jingle. It clinks when she puts it down, and Mycroft kind of like shifts it underneath the counter to look at its contents, and then he nods. He takes the pouch into the back room. Like 30 or 40 seconds later, he comes out with a long package, probably the size of a like 4 foot long, maybe 5 foot long, like one of those like big, do you remember the big rose box that Arnold Schwarzenegger had in Terminator, where he was using to hide the
all
shotgun?
the rose box.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that size basically, but a little bit longer than that. Yeah, and he places it on the counter. And the lady kind of like nods at him, picks up this big box, and then exchanges like a few words of pleasantry of him, and then turns to leave the shop and passes by you.
Good day, man.
Good day. She tips her non-existent hat. She's not wearing one, and leaves through the front door. There are a few other people in the shops, but they appear to be currently just browsing or oohing and eyeing over some of the showpieces.
Well, if my group's not there, I would head to the old man that just helped her and ask if he was busy.
Ah, yes, I remember you.
I only
Bag
came,
of holding, wasn't it?
well, no, I never came in first. I came in for like 3 seconds. I did ask about the bag of holding, didn't I? Then I grabbed Milo and left.
Yeah.
I did ask him, that's right. Nope, I'm good on that front. I no longer need one of those. And I'd kind of like,
Oh.
I'd kind of nudge to my, like, point to my little satchel I have hanging.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate, seeing how we just got a fresh batch in, but...
Don't worry, I have a couple I have questions, and maybe you can help me. And I take out my mask and plop it down on the table.
Yeah, he reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out a single spectacle, and kind of gazes at it through the spectacle. Not monocle, more like, yeah, it is called a monocle, isn't it?
Yeah, monocle. And
Yeah,
say,
and
oh,
he gazes through the monocle and says,
I moonlight as a rat catcher in Helios. I find myself in the sewers all the time, and well, I'm not naturally blessed with the night sight, the dark vision that a lot of other races have. And I've heard there's some sort of goggles one could wear to augment my sight.
ah, yes, the so-called goggles of night. I'm not sure if, I mean, I suppose they would. You might have to have a little bit of modification in order to fit them on this mask.
That's asking because I don't even need the actual goggles, but if I could have just the lenses put into those eye sockets there, that would be fantastic.
He kind of reaches up and he like uses his knuckles to like brush the tip of his nose, and then he says, "Well, the thing about magical items is sometimes their construction is more than just the obvious pieces. You know, it's the whole that makes it's the sum that makes the whole, right? I believe most working models of the goggles of night that you speak of, their frameworks is a part of the lens itself.
Okay, well, another question.
But I
Go
see
ahead.
no issue why you wouldn't be able to modify the mask in order to fit the lenses, fit the goggles. And would you like to see a working model?
Great.
Yeah, he nods to you. Goes off into the back room.
Out of character, they kind of have like a bird's eye to them, don't they?
Some do, but there's different types.
Okay.
They're not all ubiquitous.
That's a fancy word.
Thank you. I think I used it right. Yeah. It's not until someone points out your word usage that you start to second think yourself. But yeah, he comes back a moment later, with a short, like, I mean, you guys have seen sunglasses boxes, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like that, but a little bit bigger. And he pops it open and he says, "Yes, this is one of the display models. Its efficacy is a little bit. We're attempting to repair it, but as for, I've sold." And he says, like, over 3 dozens of these things, and they're all roughly this size and dimension, so it'll give you an idea of what to modify for your mask.
All right. And well, do you happen to have is this pair for sale, or do you have a current pair for sale?
Oh yes, this pair, you can have it for, let's say, 10 gold. It doesn't work, obviously.
Oh, well, do you have a set that's actually for sale?
Ah, yes, right. Yes, yes, we do have 2 currently for sale. And he actually reaches back for something. Again, he reaches back for something, and your eyes can't quite follow his hand gesture, his hand movement. He almost seems to be reaching into a space that your eyes keep skipping over. And then he turns back around again, and he has in his hands an actual, almost identical looking pair of glasses. Let me check one thing. Yeah. So yeah, they look to be built around some sort of brass or filigreed eyepieces that gives the eyepieces almost an owl like look to them. These crystal lenses with these teal crystal lenses, about like pretty thick, like about an inch thick, surrounded by these kind of like circular fittings with flanges that spread out from the 2 upper corners to form like an owl-like protrusions. You can tell after he's pointed them out, like he'll actually lean closer and like with his pinky finger point out various parts of the protrusion, and he'll say, "You see here the rune work on these side pieces here, tied directly into how the lens works. They can't be removed without destroying the lens, I'm afraid."
Gotcha. And how much would this set run me?
This particular set will run you 400 gold pieces.
Fantastic. I'll take them. And
Fantastic.
I'm not out of character. I'm not going to try negotiating because I can't for crap. The second question is, and I would take out my semi-machined rifle, the centerpiece that I'm going to use for my new gun, and say,
Okay.
well, not currently, but
So it's a receiver.
yeah, the receiver, and it's like, and you can see the filigree's not in it yet, but there's carved out for where it would be in. When this is done, I don't know when it's going to be because something just came up, but if you see where the empty spots are, I was going to fill that in with a silver filigree. What would it take to have silence enchanted on this receiver?
He says, well, that's not a very difficult enchantment, I don't think, but and he like kind of like, may I inspect it?
Yes, and this is just a work in progress. Something came up where it may not even be this receiver itself, but just in theory, a receiver. When this thing goes off, it's very loud, and while I'm personally used to it, I have people around me that aren't so much, and they're starting to. It's loud and it's rude, and the quieter you are down the sewers, the better.
I suppose I'll have to take your word for it. Now, I can't quite. I've never seen someone work magic on one of these firearms before. To be perfectly frank, sir, most magic users seem to disdain these things as being, like you said, loud and obnoxious.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not, and I'll kind of like not say blessed, but say gifted, but kind of like backhandedly mean it to be able to use magic myself. So I'm stuck coming to a person such as yourself who is gifted.
Yes, we don't discriminate, obviously. Everyone has their talents.
If I could chuck fireballs out of my hand, I wouldn't need this either. Unfortunately, I cannot.
And he says, well, so I don't see why such a spell wouldn't be feasible. However, I fail to see how one would power the spellworks themselves. Now, for example, the goggles that you've just purchased, he points towards like the package that's probably that you don't even notice like when it was boxed up and wrapped. Like
Yeah, sure.
that happened sometime while you weren't paying attention. And he says, unlike the goggles themselves work via the wearer's latent arcanic abilities, as well as it draws some arcanic source from the light that it's filtering. I don't know if I would know how to power a spell such as silence. I suppose you're not looking to power. You're not looking to make this thing project silence for.
No,
For-
I want it to, when it goes off, for it not to make a loud explosion. I just want it to be silent. I don't want to throw silence. I just want this to not make noise when it's in action.
He kind of like shakes his head a little bit, and he says, I have no solutions to offer you at the moment. I would have to consult with some of my colleagues.
Alrighty. And then I'll pay him the 400 gold for the
Yeah.
goggles, and just kind of browse when everyone else comes in.
Yeah. So the cape is still there, but it's not 8,000 gold. It's 5,000 gold. Yeah, and it's like the centerpiece of the shop, and it's behind like four-sided of glass. It's almost like the cape. It looks like it's in that enclosure from the cape from Doctor Strange. And in fact, it is just hanging there in midair. Like it's like you don't see any frames or anything that's hanging it up. As well as that, he has like behind the counter up on a shelf, he has two fairly prominent looking bags of holdings, brand new, not like scuffed up like your one. Then the price tags and then the 300 gold pieces, as well as beside that there is a large looking backpack with the sign tag below it that says handy haversack with a price tag of 800 gold pieces. On top of the counter, off to one corner, is a display case with a wand laid on the inside of it, where the tip of the wand seems to be erupting in some sort of blue fire, and the fire seems to have been frozen in time, and formed kind of almost like a crystal-looking structure. And what the tag on the display case says, "Wand of Magic Missiles." And yeah, there's various other bits and pieces throughout the shop. I think this is about the time when everyone else would be arriving, regardless of what they were doing.
I put a little thing in there when Milo enters. He's looking around not only at and he's making like he's looking at the different wares, which he is, but he's also looking around for glyphs and wards.
Okay. Yeah, roll me an investigation.
My lightning ant wants to know. Yeah. I'm headed up there, but yeah.
That went well.
You notice signs of
Do you guys have anything in the pen right now?
you notice signs of silver inlaid into some of the like the foot what are they called, like the place where like the piece of wood that you find where the wall meets the floor.
Baseboard.
It
Yeah,
would be
the
the,
base
the threshold in between
I
the
didn't
two.
grab any salt or anything, so it's gonna expire quick.
I think it is called the baseboard.
Yeah, it's
And
baseboard.
what's the ceiling equivalent called?
The molding?
Yeah, molding.
Okay, so yeah, you find silver filigree in
And you guys do have
in
extra.
the baseboard and the molding, although you can't quite tell if they're just ornate or if they actually serve some sort of functional purpose.
Silver. He makes a mental note of that and keeps looking around. I take note of the things that you listed already. I don't make eye contact with the owner or salesman yet. The magic missile wand, did you say what the price was on that?
Yeah, in case you guys were wondering what the heck I was doing, I'm setting new pipes for like 8 metal.
Did everything get quiet?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm laying down stone pipes now just to see where everything's gonna lay, and then I'll replace
Whoops.
metal.
Oh, there you go.
Hooray, Discord! Yeah, it was $800.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm
800,
not
okay.
bad in pipe.
I'll let other people go. I'm just looking around the shop for more stuff. Does he seem to have a lot of books and scrolls and stuff somewhere?
Yeah, he has an entire shelf full of scroll works.
Just wanna go, let me in.
They actually look a little bit too ostentatious. You're more used to, or like more utilitarian spell, scroll works. These look like I don't know how to kindly put it. These look like someone who's trying to make a show of using magic would use. Like a person using these scrolls would be making a point to be like, "Ooh, I'm doing magic."
Yeah, that'll be after.
No, I got you. They're for sale, so he wants it to look instead of looking old and dilapidated and
That's what I'm
important,
process of
he's
doing.
going the
No,
opposite route.
instead of looking like they are just spell words written and infused onto a piece of parchment, these things have like brass caps and like non-functional, like it serves no purpose, like little squiggles down each side of it bordering the page and fancy calligraphy, and some
man.
even have pictures.
It's like you can buy the 99-cent, composite notebook, or you can spend $30 on the leatherback one.
Precisely, yeah.
So we saw one.
Okay. I'm looking for some specific things, and he's heard of. I guess I'll just IM them to you, but he's looking for a couple specific magic items to see if he has them that haven't been listed so far.
Okay. What's Thalia rolling investigation for?
She wants to look at the jewelry, specifically rings.
Okay. Yeah. There's an entire what are they called? Those sunglass kiosk things. I think they are just called kiosks, right?
Probably.
Yeah, so there's like an entire like rotary kiosk kind of thing with a whole bunch of gems in them. It's like ring gems in them. Doesn't take you very long to realize that they're all just these ones in particular are all just non-magical. They're just and then like you eventually make your way into a back corner, and there's like a I forget what exactly they're called, but it's essentially like a display case, but instead of it sitting flat on a counter somewhere, it's like mounted on the wall, and it's like a long, tall. It's not called an armoire because those are
How
for
about
like
a display case?
yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Simplify and call it a display. It's a vertical display case. And each different shelf, there's just a single ring sitting in the center of which, typically they're held up on some sort of like a clasp or something, and some of them actually just sit in like either it's like velvet or other kind of like pillows.
Did your Discord break again?
No. I'm sorry. I'm looking things up. I am looking currently at rings. So actually, the rings themselves aren't actually organized in pricing schemes as you would think. Instead, they seem to be more organized in categories. And there is a ring of jumping directly above a ring of free falling, or sorry, feather falling. There is so the ring of jumping costs 400 gold, or at least its price tag is 400 gold, and the ring of feather falling is 450. There is a ring of protection, but it looks fairly expensive. It's I think the price tag would be somewhere around. Yeah, no. Let's just say the price tag is 800 gold. There are 3 rings of resistances. One is a very, very fancy looking ring with this with this gemstone that seems impossible. Like the gemstone looks impossible. It's not something that we would ever be able to see in RL. So I'll try and describe this. It's almost like someone took a piece of like a topaz or some kind of gemstone and then stretched it out like taffy and then twisted it until it formed a twist. And then lined the edges of this twist with golden filigree and then twisted it until it formed a complete loop into a ring. And it says ring of force resistance. Beneath that is a simple blue ring. Like the entire ring is made out of some sort of blue metal. It has no engravings. It's just a simple band. It says ring of psychic resistance. And then there is a I don't even know how to describe this. This it's not so much a ring as it is a. In fact, I'll kind of draw it if because I don't know how to describe it. So if you're looking from a ring, like kind of like from a not really a side angle, but like that's the wrong page. Well, can you guys see what I'm drawing?
I cannot.
Right.
There we
So
go.
if you're
I see that now.
if the finger is like something like, I know fingers aren't usually pointed. Okay.
It's a witch claw. It's fine. It's a witch. It's fine.
Yeah. Instead, it's got two middle kind of like clasps or cups that run. You know what? It's a
The Colada ring?
those of you who who are fans of Star Wars. It's a TIE Interceptor, or it's a TIE Advanced.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
It's got two clasps that run along each side in the shape of like an elongated triangle with a curved base.
When you put it on, make that little noise.
And it says Ring of Necrotic Resistance. However, this thing has a price tag of 1,000 gold.
Basically, there's a poll going if anyone is at first like
Below that, the final ring that you see on
Head-a-track. Yes,
yeah,
that's the one.
below that you see on the ring of there's a fairly prominent ring. It's actually got 4 magical lights within it that
Just
shines
now,
upon
that's
this
not
thing.
everyone's reading.
And the ring is actually fairly simple in its design. It is a simple double ring, so there's 2 rings. They're
Unacceptable.
conjoined together by so they kind of weave together in a crisscross
We hope in
pattern
the funnel.
until they form a single ring. And on the top of the ring, clasped between these 2 interwoven rings, is a simple rock, flat, like on the top of it, almost like an LCD screen. And in the shine
It's almost broken. I'm like
of
really
this
starving and thirsty now.
of these 4 magic lights, as you move your head around, you can see faint twinkling and
Did someone turn around?
winking from inside the star, and the sign below it says "Ring of Shooting Stars." And in fact, this thing has
I was just staring
on
at
the
the
design
sun
of it,
running towards my car now,
there
and I'm
is
like,
the
this is
seal
really
of
rapid.
like cupped on each side of
Maybe
this
truck stop next to
jewel,
next
this
to
flat jewel. There's 2 crescent moons that symbolizes the Church of Eos. Sorry, the Church of Selene. And it does not have a price tag.
Oh god, yeah.
It just
Ooh.
has a name tag.
That's the seasonal price.
Okay, well, she does not see what she's looking for, so she's mosey on then.
All right, what is Arthur doing?
Does he typically think that things without prices are typically the most expensive things?
Yeah, things without prices typically so there's a joke that so the joke goes, if you need to ask if you need to ask what the price is, you can't afford it.
Yeah, I figured as much. He's not really doing much. He's just, I don't know, meandering pretty much.
Oh, there's one more. Yeah. Oh, actually, no. Never mind.
Milo's looking around at any gloves that would be there, bottles, whether they be potions or other stuff, and any oddities that don't fit in your normal, like gloves, cape, kind of category. And also, after he's done looking at those things, if he has any more time or money, he would look at some of the scrolls.
Okay. So yeah, I just read your PM now. You don't find well, you do find 2 of the items. So the ever smoking bottle is actually, like, you do actually find it, and it's tucked away in some kind of like corner that's conjoining supplies, like the supplies on the shelves next to it, all seem to be of various sorts of prankware. And it's actually pretty cheap. It's like 100 gold
All
for
right.
whatever reason.
Can I pick these things up and just like something like that, and just carry it to wherever I'm looking next, or do I have to ask?
Yeah, no, from except for the stuff that's in display cases, like these things, you can just pick them up.
Okay, so he kind of picks up the bottle. He's looking at it, and he does not open it up. And then he goes and looks at the gloves.
All right, so yeah, you do also find the gloves. The gloves are in a actually they're in the section. They're in a section of so there's a set of like it's fairly prominent looking, a set of lockpicks that's fairly prominently displayed on like a stand, and it will show like they seem to be self animated, and there's like a lock on the stand, and the animated lockpicks would pick like this lock, it would pop it open, and then they would withdraw, and then after a few minutes the lock would lock itself again, and then the magic lockpicks would pick this lock again. And
That's pretty
next
awesome.
to that, you find, you find a glove of missile snaring. It seems to be a section. I won't typecast, but it might like interest the more sneaky kind of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a gloves of missile snaring, costs 400 gold pieces. Beside that, is actually a strange set of clothing. Like it's hung up on a mannequin, and when you look at it out of the corner, like when you weren't looking at it, it appears like just something that Seraphina is currently wearing at the moment. But when you turn to look directly at it, it looks like a dress, like a fairly frilly looking dress. And when your attention passes somewhere else, the next time you return, it looks like a tuxedo.
Wow, that was pretty cool. You have a price on that?
Yeah, it's 400 gold.
Man, that is interesting. What is that out of character?
It's a glamored stud leather.
Ah, it's armor. Okay.
You might so in terms of mechanics wise, it has the same stats as stud leather, but it has +1 bonus to AC. And the owner can use a bonus action to change the appearance of the armor to resemble any types of other armor or a set of normal clothing.
How much is that?
400 gold.
I might have to come back and get that.
It's pretty good. He would point it out to. I guess he'd point it out to Thalia, but he would have no interest himself. And then he would go over to the scrolls, get an idea of like pricing. I guess A, pricing, B, seeing up to out of character like what levels scrolls he would have, and also mechanically, I just don't know like what would be the difference between just learning them on my own, finding them, and learning them on my own. Is it the exact same thing as what I've been doing?
So you can tell immediately from from looking at over these scrolls with your arcane knowledge that these scrolls have been like self-encrypted. They have a starting thread that basically you start doing the incantation and the hand gestures, and there's a starting parse that's unencrypted, and then once you start the starting parse, the rest of the document will unfold. So basically, as you move through the process of casting it, you reveal its contents, of how to do it. But once you've done so, obviously you would have burned up the scroll. It's a mechanism to prevent people from just taking the scrolls and then copying them into their books.
Okay. Got it.
Which we have
It's-
a spell book that includes all first to third level
Yeah.
spells. So
You have spell and not only that, but to your disappointment, the spell scroll section only seems to cover first and second level spells.
All right. Well, I'll let other people see if anybody else is gonna shop, but I'm definitely interested in those 2 items so far, and I might do a little bit more shopping.
Yeah, so you do point out the glamour leather to Thalia.
Thalia is very tempted.
Hey, as a bonus action, you can choose for it to resemble any other set of ordinary clothing or any other kind of armor, and you can decide its color and style, including accessories.
I think there's a crashing coming.
I'm very tempted.
Ew, right, like Hugo just has me.
God, yeah, Thalia will do it.
It does raise your AC by 1, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I was interested in it.
Is anybody in the panel?
But it does make way more sense for her to have it.
So you, when you go to purchase it per se, the proprietor Mycroft will tell you, yes, a fine piece, very popular with the ladies. Its actual construction isn't actually any more robust or more cumbersome than a regular set of a studded leather, as you can tell. However, the added magical glamour seems to turn aside the attacker's attentions, making you that much harder to hit.
So I'm not sure if this guy's trying to like sell it to her because she's a girl, but as soon as he says, "Oh, what a fine piece," and starts to do his speech, she's just gonna lower her voice and go, "I'm a boy."
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. My mistake. But yes, they are also very popular. What I meant to say is that they are very popular with the ladies. If you were to wear such a thing, I'm sure you'd be the center of attention. Roll persuasion for recovery. No, I was gonna roll persuasion, but never mind. Yeah. So do you end up purchasing it? And also as well, Milo, what do you out of those 2 items, do you purchase both of them or?
Yeah, you would purchase both. That's 500
Okay.
total.
You are awesome, sir.
All right. Is anyone going to buy anything for poor Serafina, who is currently the poorest out of the entire party?
Well, we
Yeah.
don't know what she wants, but
It's caught her mind. Caught her eye.
I honestly don't know what Seraphina would like want or need. Like,
Well, I will point out, halflings don't have dark vision.
this is true.
oh, that's right.
Do you have lockpicks? I know that it seems a silly question, and I don't want to pigeonhole you, because I think I recognize you. But you have the ability to pick locks, correct?
Just in case a friend is here.
I may know some people who have the ability to pick locks.
I mean, I don't, and we need someone on the team that can pick locks. So, if you can do that, we don't need to go buy those fancy self-picking locks over there. So I'm asking you, can, like, out of character, do you have lockpick?
Yeah, she's lockpick.
Then yeah, I'd say F it, and I would get both goggles and give her one. We need you to be able to
another
see this.
pair?
Yeah. You know what? I'd ask him for a discount. If I buy both, can I get, they're what, 400 a pop? If I were to buy both, could
Yeah.
I get them for 600?
He'll consider it a moment. Roll me persuasion.
I don't have any inspiration. Damn it. Alright,
How about this? Since we're probably all near the checkout anyway, we're all here together. If you want to make a bigger sale, we'll buy one more object to make it. If you give us a group discount.
well, I'm not done. Now that you guys have shot, I still might ask him for a couple more things. That's why.
Okay. I'll let you roll persuasion with advantage, since Thalia is backing you up.
It's not gonna help, but that is very nice of her to try. I appreciate it.
And she's saying this in a deep voice.
Oh wow, 17. That's
Yeah. So he says, I suppose that's only fair. I always enjoy repeat customers. Tell you what, how about I'll sell you both pairs for 700.
that seems fair. And then I would.
Can Serafina try to get him to haggle lower?
You're chasing a mouse.
What if the mouse runs into the store?
I would 700's fair. And I wouldn't try to haggle lower because I'm not gonna ever roll higher than a 17 on persuasion.
What's your charisma modifier? Like -1?
-1.
Yeah, you'd be pretty hard pressed to roll higher than that.
And then while I'm asking, do you have any? I kind of show my armor, which is just the patrol vest, which I think is basically just studded armor. Do you have any that's a little more magically inclined to prevent me from taking damage? I am not a charismatic person at all.
I'd go with you in that, but
He actually nods, and he says, I actually think, I believe I have the exact thing for you. And he goes into the back, and he actually comes back out with a very, very familiar set of looking clothing. This is typically what constables wear as under armor underneath their greatcoats.
Okay.
And except for the fact that this one has obvious spellwork filigree on its chest plate and its lower near the belt region around the back. And he says there are subtle enchantments woven upon this thing. It should make the armor that much tougher. And it is essentially a +1.
Well, that's basically.
It is a +1. It's a medium armor. It's a +1 breastplate essentially, but it's not made out of metal. Instead, it seems to be made out of some sort of Actually, it seems to be made out of some sort of scale, although it's difficult to tell what it is made out of.
Well, what would the AC be, and how much is it?
It would be a total of 15 AC plus Dex modifier of 2. It's a
Okay.
medium armor.
Okay, and how much is it?
He quotes you 600 gold.
And just actually out of character. Scrolls, can they be used by non-magic? You know what?
Yeah.
I would tell this shopkeep. So I'm already spending 1,400 gold. Wow, worth it. I have a particular interest of a creature that may or may not be alive in the sewers. People tend to say that it's a myth. Do you happen to have some sort of magical device or scroll that would help us locate a crocodile of large size?
A crocodile in the sewers?
Milo, show him your handle.
You know, this is the reason why I don't frequent Helios. My croc complains.
Milo does as told.
You see that's not ivory. That's crocodile tooth. I plucked it from the from the wall of the sewer myself.
He leans ever so slightly backwards.
I intend on hunting this creature down.
He
He's
says,
very elusive.
I do think I have something in mind of what you're asking, and he points towards the section of the shelves of scrolls in it. And look under L for locate creature.
Okay, and well, I know I looked it up. It's a level 4 spell. How much would that be? 'Cause it's probably too much for me.
Oh yeah, it is a level 4 spell.
She's angry.
I will say that there's probably only 2 copies of it, and it's inside scroll cubes. Like it's not scrolled, it's not folded out for on display. It is a scroll, so it is a consumable.
But it's level 4, so it's not cheap.
Yeah, let me look it up. Because I know the DMG has like,
But you're the god of this world.
yeah. I typically use it on as like a baseline. And then I try to balance it economically speaking.
What spell level is summon creature? Or summon familiar?
I think it's like first level, isn't it?
First or second
Yeah.
max.
It's first.
Okay, Thalia wants to buy that for Seraphina, so she can have a mouse as a familiar.
By the way, if you're trying to chase your mouse inside the room, your mouse doesn't enter the room. Like, is this mouse a familiar? It's not, right? It's just some random mouse.
Yeah, just random.
Yeah. So, your mouse, so the mouse, actually shies away from the room, from the doorway, when it approaches it. You haven't noticed the similar effect with Marmaduke? You're not sure what that's all about.
Marmaduke's the best. He's standing watch.
Yes. So a 4th level spell scroll would actually run you 400 gold pieces
I will pass on that.
for a single spell scroll.
And I would-
His ass.
I don't know if I could. I'll try to. Can I use that 17 to barter down the 17? Well, it's 1400 for the both goggles and the armor. I'd see if I get the 15 altogether for both goggles and the armor.
There we go, I got it.
You know what? Yeah, I mean you rolled a 17, and 17 is fairly high. So yeah, okay, yeah. He'll sell it to you for
Fantastic.
1500.
God, my AC went up 2, and I get night vision. Fantastic.
Wait, so
This
armor
thing
was
is
700 and the
ridiculous.
2 goggles were 700, right?
Oh, you know what? I can't do math. She's right. So it's 1400. So yeah, you know what? 1400. I'm happy because that's cheaper than I wanted. Fantastic.
I was going to just roll with the.
Nope, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to do the. All right. Yep, I'm done. I'm done.
I was like, wait, he's paying extra? Okay.
You know what? That does seem fair because he's not very smart. Neither am I. The next time I see Seraphina, I will give her the owl, the goggles of night vision, or whatever they're called.
You earlier said something about lockpicks.
Yeah, well, she can pick locks, so she needs to be able to see the locks in the dark.
Were they just a generic set or a magical set?
They appear to be some sort of magical lockpicks. They seem to be automatically picking a lock, although it's picking the same lock over and over and over again. So, like, you're not sure if that's actually like a real thing. But it is for sale.
Does that armor I have a name, or is it just like scale armor +1?
It is a constable's vest, +1, and it shares the same stats as a breastplate. It is medium armor. It is not metal, so you don't suffer the same penalties as, for example, heat metal. What else? Yes, so the lockpicks. When you inquire about the lockpicks to Mycroft, he'll inform you that it is a pair of magicked lockpicks. They don't actually make you any more proficient at lockpicking. However, someone who's attuned to them can actually operate them remotely up to 60 feet.
Well, that's handy. And how much are they?
They are 200 gold. He actually says, well, typically I would sell them for 300, but you've been such good customers today and brought me so much custom that I'll let them go for 200.
And she's gonna inquire about some of the other joke items that were pointed out.
Okay. So yeah, there's various other almost similar to the ever smoking bottles. There is a belt of levitation. Basically, you put it on someone, and then whenever you say the keyword, and he informs you that the keyword is reprogrammable, the belt lifts its occupant up 15 feet above the ground, and it's not deactivated until someone removes it or says the counter word.
Is it up to 15 feet or automatic
No,
15 feet?
it's automatically 15 feet.
Oh, well, that's not too handy.
Yes, well, it is. They are a joke item. Most of the things on that aisle are pranks.
Well, what
He
else,
seems
what else
to-
is over there?
He seems to think that. And then there's a pair of slippers that when a person wearing them, so yeah, a person like with a command word, you can cause the slippers to change to any other type of footwear that the person attuned to, not attuned to it, the person who knows the command word to that shoe can change its appearance to any other type of shoe. And the thing about the shoe is that when it's being worn, it has zero traction whatsoever. So it's a pair of slippery slippers.
Nice.
Yeah, it says 100%.
And he says people typically they pull pranks on people by replacing their shoes with those slippers
Well,
to resemble their shoes.
that's actually kind of handy, especially if you have a wizard or somebody with a familiar looking in. You just say the command word and pull them along as they're looking through their familiar's eyes.
Milo in the background rubbing his hands together and looking at Obadiah eating.
Nope. I'm super just looking at my new armor and my night vision goggles. But something for some reason I don't understand, I get a chill down the back of my spine.
Milo's actually by his feet, and he asked the shopkeeper if he holds up his hands the size of Obi's feet and just says, do you have them in these size?
I believe they resize to whatever the wearer's size.
Wow.
Thalia whispers to Milo, "Are you really willing to brave the death smell of Obi's feet to put them on his feet?"
He is a flatfoot and he walks a lot, and those boots look really, really old.
It's so true.
You see Milo cast Minor Illusion, and he has one of those old school clothespins on his nose.
Nina, You catch from your low vantage point
I mean, I do, but
one of the
all that
lowest
stuff
shelves
we're not gonna leave.
off
and
the ring stand,
this stuff.
a ring that the others missed, and it says "Ring of Animal Influence."
There's a rec safe, but I can't pick it up. I'm over encumbered. The giga heavy.
Is she here?
It's as heavy as a bloody person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says "Ring of Animal Influence," and a small placard underneath it says, "This ring has 3 charges. It regains 1d3. It regains 1 to 3 expended charges daily at dawn. While wearing this ring, you can use as an action to expend one of its charges to cast one of the following spells: Animal Influence, Fear, targeting only beasts that have intelligence of 3 or lower, or Speak with Animals." And the price tag on it is 200 gold.
Oh, that's fancy.
Oh, that's interesting. Um, we're thinking about outfitting Seraphina, because having a small character is useful, and having a sneaky small character is an asset. How much does a scroll of summon familiar cost?
50 gold.
It's just not bad.
Not when you can dismiss it at what, bonus action or will?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although if it's killed, you have to resummon it.
Is that a single use item?
Well, the scroll of familiar is a single use item. However, you create a contract with the animal, I guess you'd say, and you can summon it and resummon it at will unless it dies, and you have to get another scroll.
Ooh.
So if you point out the ring, somebody might be willing to buy it for you. But the slip slippers, how much are the slip slippers?
The slippers are only 100 gold. Actually, no. The slippers themselves are only 50 gold. Because they're not.
And how many pairs does he have? 1, 3.
Milo would buy that that familiar product for Seraphina.
Okay.
That's-
There is also a soap, just a piece of soap. It's the size of like,
Which is like right behind me.
it's a large soap, so it fits in the palm of your hands, and it's currently inside a translucent bag, and it says prank soap, like the label on the bag. Sorry, the label tied around the edge of the bag, the top of the bag. There's like a string with a label on it, and it says prank soap. And if you flip the label back around on the other side, it says, "Once soap has been removed from bag, it is impossible to pick up. Do not remove from bag."
Yeah, I'm debating that.
So it automatically falls on the ground, or
It's
what
slippery
happens?
soap.
You're not sure what it actually means. It just says that once it's out of the bag, it's impossible to be picked up.
It's like that crazy ball in Men in Black 1 where like he's trying to catch it and it's bouncing off everything.
You said that they were ever smoke bottles.
Yeah.
I'm
How mu-
purchasing one now.
How much are
There were
those?
3.
Was it 100?
I'm really thinking about that ring. I don't know though.
Milo's gonna purchase it either way, and then he has it.
the
It's-
ring?
It
Okay.
changes their mind about the familiar thing.
Wait, the ring or the scroll?
Either or, it doesn't really matter. The scroll is cheap enough.
There's about 5 gold bullions in the party thing. How about we just basically blow one and get Seraphine a whole bunch of shit? Maybe even 2. So we get her thing.
Well, a silver bullion is worth 100 gold.
I thought it was worth a lot more. Never mind. I thought it
Arthur
silver.
will also throw up that he has 450 or 449 gold that he's not doing anything with.
Yeah, I think Milo's gonna save some of his gold. He still has some business propositions that he wants to pursue, and spells to learn.
She's gonna ask if he has any water producing items.
Ah, yes, you're asking about the infamous or famous, whichever way you want to look at it, alchemist's jug.
Or the decanter of endless water, or whatever it is.
Ah, well, I don't have one of those, but I do have an alchemist jug, which I believe can serve a similar function.
What does the alchemist jug do?
It's the best thing
so-
ever.
He goes through a spiel, and it says, this jug appears to be able to hold a gallon of liquid. It weighs 12 pounds whether full or empty. Sloshing sounds can be heard from within the jug when it's shaken, even if the jug is empty. You can use an action and name one liquid from the table below to cause the jug to produce the chosen liquid. Afterwards, you can unlock the jug as an action and pour that liquid out up to 2 gallons per minute. The maximum amount of liquid the jug can produce depends on the liquid you've named. Once the jug starts producing a liquid, it can't produce a different one or more of one that has reached its maximum until the next dawn. And it can produce acid, basic poison, beer, honey, mayonnaise, oil, vinegar, fresh water, salt water, or wine.
And how much is that?
He's selling it for 400, but he'll sell it to you for 300. And there's various different gallons. Like acid, it can produce 8 ounces.
Yeah, I'll grab the stats
Poison.
for it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested in it. So she'll grab the alchemist jug. She's gonna get a thing of slippers, the summon scroll, and the
The soap, by the way, is 50 gold.
yeah, and the glamored armor.
Okay.
And she's giving the slippers to Milo.
Grumble, grumble. Once again, another shiver.
She says this is. She'll only speak the command word when we're walking along. He has to look through the eyes of his familiar. She'll just drag him along.
Slippery shoes. I'll tie a rope around my neck too.
But it's only for that situation she's giving it to him for.
No, I get it.
That's funny. I never even thought about using it like that. He just puts them on, and then you tie a rope around him and you just drag him everywhere. He's a known
He can't.
pavement skier.
I think he can like walk along, be like guided along. I don't know.
Yes, but this way it makes it easier. We just tie you up, or not tie you up, lead you, and you don't even have to do anything. We'll just drag you along.
So we're being like you're openly buying these and describing to Milo that you're using it for him in that circumstance, I guess. Milo would look at you and he kind of looks He looks at you and he kind of he has a perplexed look on his face, like I don't know about that, and he's shaking his head.
It's happened 2 or 3 times that we've had to walk along and drag you along, or lead you. So we might as well make it easier.
I've basically just carried you once.
Yeah. I mean, he wouldn't fight it. He would just. You could see the trepidation in his face.
And Thalia said I won't share the password with anybody else but Arthur.
I mean, he kind of nods and goes along with it.
So you're putting them on?
No, he's not wearing them right now. But if we want to reserve that for some time where it might be useful, he just doesn't fight it. He's like, oh, okay, but he's got his reservations.
Finding useful uses for prank items. Welcome to D&D. Yeah, so I assume... Did I hear correctly that you guys are on your way out?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Milo
Milo
was
was impressed by the ring.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot. I didn't even read that. Yeah, so did anyone buy her the ring, by the way?
Milo would have. How much was that again?
200.
Okay.
Roll me a persuasion check, Seraphina. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, sure. He'll take one look at your puppy eyes and your small stature, and he'll kind of like lean down, and kind of just whisper so that his voice isn't carried, and just say, "Fine. Tell you what, I'll let it go for 100, seeing how your friends have bought so much today."
At the moment he's done wrapping that up, I'll chuck her the glasses and say, "You'll need this to see in the dark. Trust me."
Oh, that, yeah.
Seraphina's going to fish out the coins in her small coin purse and place them on the counter and take the ring, and she's going to redirect her puppy dog gaze over to Obi and just have the most grateful, gracious expression she can manage on her small face.
Yeah, and the dog's cuter. And I'll kind of walk away and go pet Marmaduke. I don't know about her yet. I don't trust her yet, but she's on a team. I want her at her best.
So, as you guys are leaving the store, I would like for everyone to roll perception.
Okay.
There it is.
Wow, Obi, your perceptions are always on.
And I have advantage too, which is the best.
Yeah. You're not sure why you're the only one who notices. Everyone else is oohing and eyeing over their purchases, I guess. You're a little bit more wary and on the edge. You glance, as you exit the shop, you glance down to your western side, and you can see quite clearly,
I actually have a really good
standing at the mouth of an alleyway, just inside the alleyway between two buildings, looking towards your guys' direction, is an anthropomorphic bunny wearing a top hat. And when he sees you look in his direction, he touches the brim of his hat and then turns around and walks into the alleyway.
I'll look at Marmaduke and kind of say, "Did you see that, buddy? Did you guys?" And I'll kind of like, I'll look at everyone and say, "Did you see that? I promise you, I'm not lying. There's a bunny wearing a top hat over here. Follow me," and I'll kind of like nudge Marmaduke and say, "Go get him, boy." I'll kind of follow Marmaduke.
I think 5 can, yeah, 5 can
Okay.
go through is where the area is.
Right.
Do we still remember the White Rabbit gang people, right?
Yes, you do.
Did we meet them or did only Milo meet them?
All of you met them. All of you went into the warehouse and spoke with quote unquote White Rabbit,
Arthur will look
where
to
he asked you to
to-
retrieve the 3 books.
Yeah, Arthur will look to Milo and say, did we ever find those?
Yeah, we're gonna be getting that in this area. Like I said, it's got a lot of predators, but
Not
it's
that I
got another
recall.
It's got a lot of wood.
You would have recalled finding them. Your part of finding the butcher and then killing the butcher is still, that part of the memory is still all intact. The only parts of memory that are gone are Aelin Dolores being a spawn, and her attacking you and throwing you down into the hole, and the entire journey through the hole itself.
God, I'm lagging.
So you still would have remembered recovering the book.
I'm already.
Actually, no, you recovered the book down in the hole, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, after.
Yeah.
You're
No,
right.
you don't remember recovering the book. Although the book is heavy, it weighs like 10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah, there's like everything next to the
So
Milo had all the books in his backpack.
Yeah. So
So
your backpack at the moment weighs like 30 pounds
Well-
because there are 3 lead-lined books inside.
well, during the 2 days that we had in town or off, like once everybody's gone through their backpack, Milo probably would have gone through his. at the
Yeah,
time.
you would have found all 3.
And I'm running behind Marmaduke, who's hopefully figuring out what's going on in the alley. And hopefully he doesn't murder this guy, because he's
And
crazy.
I will actually go into a little bit of detail on the books themselves. Like you've had a little bit of time to look them over. Most of it is beyond your comprehension, and some of it is obviously encoded, and others of it is in foreign languages such as Infernal. But you can kind of just it's the thing that when you're reading a foreign book, like every now and then you'll come across like a word you vaguely recognize, and then you'll be like, I know what this is about, but you have no idea what this is about. It's like that. But you by inference, you work out that one of the books is a banned book on transmutation, another book is a banned book on enchantments, and the third book is a banned book on necromancy.
I immediately regret my decision.
So yeah, what are you guys doing?
Well, I already told you what I'm doing.
Yeah, we follow him.
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
compelled to go in that direction to
Right.
see if everything's alright.
So you enter the alleyway. It's not a dead end alleyway. You can clearly see down like 70, 80 feet or so. No, maybe not that far. Probably only like, the building's probably only like 40 feet long. Probably a little bit more, 50 feet maybe. But yeah, standing in the middle of this alleyway is an anthropomorphic
Stand is gonna be good for a while. because
white
it's
rabbit
a
in the top hat.
awareness.
And upon seeing you guys, it touches its hat, and then it beckons for you guys to come closer.
And once everyone else sees him, I'll kind of like call Marmaduke off.
I think Marmaduke is fairly well trained, and it remains by your side.
He's a
without
very good boy.
Yeah, so you guys approach him, or
Yeah,
approach
I'm on
it.
the right-hand side as you're looking out to the ocean.
Yeah, I'd see what the rest of the group is doing, but if Marmaduke and Obi are approaching him, I'll go with them.
Yep, why not?
Follow.
They're Milo's friends, so Arthur's following Milo's lead.
Okay.
I'm just going towards the crazy person that was staring at me, but I mean, I'm sure I recognize him, so I'm not gonna like threaten him.
And Seraphina ducks behind some washing or something and just vanishes from sight.
And follows.
Yeah, you probably really like. I'd say like because it's an alleyway, there's probably nowhere like that's not immediately obvious to hide and still approach. So you probably like scamper out of view and then like climb up a drain pipe onto like the roof or something nearby and like run along the edge of the roof. But yeah, you approach the white rabbit. It holds up a hand. It holds up a hand once you get within like 5 feet or 10 feet of him, as almost like in benedictional greeting. However, there's that all-seeing eye in the center of his hand, and it just the white rabbit says, "Greetings. I see. I judge by your prompt return that you have been successful in your task."
You're gonna need to come all the way around the water to where.
Yeah, we killed your buddy.
It doesn't connect yet.
Dead.
Well done. However, his death was not really what we sought. We simply wished for our property to be returned. Do you have it?
Milo wouldn't hesitate to take the books out, at least physically.
Okay.
Mentally, he's tearing them apart. And he would draw closer
That'd be fantastic.
to them and show them the books.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Thalia.
Thalia would say, curiously, yes, we have them.
Why do
kinda-
you say curiously?
Because we don't remember getting one of them.
Oh, I think it was eating or something.
And I would say to Milo, don't forget to get your library pass.
The bunny pauses for a moment
Fuck, it's a flying bird after me.
and says, and then it repeats what you said. You have no recollection of retrieving one of these books.
Correct.
Blood has been really odd.
Bitch.
It says, "Do not be alarmed. I will be spellcasting."
These things are quick.
And it goes through a complicated set of gestures. And it casts something. And it says, yes, I can see subtle manipulations. Your memories have been modified recently.
That's disconcerting.
This thing's gonna kill me.
How much do you remember of the past
I think we're
2 or
missing a
3
day.
days? And during this time, you retrieved this book.
Yes. And also, a lot of other things.
Would you mind if telling me what else you found during your blank period?
I'll knock it out of it.
Well, I have some who helps me make my firearms, and she told me she requested I
Yeah, this
get
is
some
what
sort
I
of
have for, like, the starter base. So it's,
schematic for something, and I don't remember getting it, but apparently I did.
Thalia starts pulling out
just
papers and
predators
books
do
from
spawn here,
who knows where. But she leaves the pass inside her bag.
Yeah, and those
Yeah.
ones
Okay.
are
Yeah. So, he casts a mage hand, which drifts over, and he offers to, basically he basically asks to see one of the pieces of documentation. Like this is probably like that piece of paper that outlines like the sun lance or something like that.
Yeah,
Do you-
probably.
Do you offer it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he reads it over and then he drifts it back and he says, "Curious, it appears you made it fairly significantly deeply into the Undercroft during your missing period.
Doesn't matter.
I don't suppose
Why
that
wasn't
that's a
that
stupid
different?
question. Never mind. You obviously have no memory of why your memories were erased."
We could ask the question anyway. Or is that it?
He shakes his head and says, we're not the only players in this great game. Clearly, you've run afoul of someone powerful. However, you should take solace in the fact that you're still breathing. Someone that could have modified your memory probably could have just as easily disposed of you permanently. Clearly, they still find you of use.
What was the reward for returning the books?
Milo was offered basically access to the Mysterium's archive, the Mysterium's library.
Ah, okay. Well, then Thalia's not going to ask for a boon, and that's already a huge boon, I guess.
Well, you don't know. Like, you don't know what value that was worth. It was kind of a value that you guys assigned yourselves in your own head.
So she asked Mr. Rabbit to give them a few minutes to discuss something.
He nods and he says, "Yes, I understand this. This might be a bit of a shock. I will give you a few moments."
So she's gonna quickly turn around and whisper to the group in a very low voice.
He pulls out a big fucking pocket watch.
And she's gonna ask, should we ask for one of our memories to be restored, and whose?
I have no desire. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah, these things steal shit from me.
I'm already getting something out of this deal. I understand if one of you want your memories back.
Because I don't think Arthur's told us about his meeting with his
No, he hasn't.
You glance over your shoulder, and you see while the rabbit is standing there, kind of, he's not facing you guys. He's got his back against a wall, and he's holding a big pocket watch in his left hand. And there's a pair of mage hands in front of him pouring
tea.
pouring a cup of tea.
Bitching about he's late for a very important date.
Potion of growth.
Shrink, actually. He's already huge. He'd have to shrink.
Well, Milo would leave the conversation because he's kind of said if either of you want to do it, go ahead. And he would go and talk to the rabbit while everybody else is conversing.
Yeah, he turns as you approach him and he says, "Has your friends come to a decision?"
Shortly, I believe. Just another moment or two. Do you have any other things you need us to do for you?
So first off, he says, before we discuss further business, I believe I owe you a boon.
Milo nods.
Yeah. And he basically just offers to shake. He just offers to shake your hand. He holds out the hand that previously you saw, the mark of the all-seeing eye or whatever it is on the. You remember when you received that piece of paper with the hand on it, with the eye in the center of the palm that says "We're watching"?
Yep.
It's like that eye. And he's offering you to shake your hand with that hand.
Milo looks at him and looks deep into his eye, trying to figure out if this is gonna hurt or not. And then, barring seeing anything really unusual, just goes ahead and shakes his hand.
Yeah, Thalia would ask him if he has the ability or knows somebody with the abilities to restore memory. Hello?
Yeah. So do you? We're taking care of Milo's thing first. So
Okay.
Milo, do you shake his hand?
Yeah, I basically wanted to inside him really quick, and then
Yeah.
and then I would shake his hand.
I guess you're just waiting for your sheet to load.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, this thing sucks. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, spellcaster sheets always take longer to load for some reason.
A lot of spells in this thing too.
Yeah, I think with these sheets, spells really, it's something to do with the compendium or something, like really lags it down. Do you know what your modifier is?
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll a d20. There's no modifier for it.
I think there is. Oh no, you're not proficient, are you?
Nope.
That's still really
So,
good.
yeah, it's still really good. Yeah. You see no signs of overt threat. However, there is a palpable like look of expectation, as if like he knows precisely what's going to happen.
Milo knows not exactly what was gonna happen, but he knows of this group now, and knows this is a path that he's taking that will be hard to or impossible to change. But he goes ahead and shakes its hand.
Yeah. So you feel like there's a brief flare of magic in your palm when he shakes your hand, and the sensation doesn't hurt, but it quickly goes numb. And when you withdraw your hand and look at it, there is, for a moment, emblazoned on your hand, the eye of the Mysterium, and it fades after a moment. And the bunny just says to you, "Welcome to the Mysterium." And as he says those words, you feel in your head knowledge unfolding, and you suddenly realize that you know the closest locations of the various hidden libraries and safe houses and well, at least the safe houses that are open to you, and various like arcane laboratories. And the bunny actually says to you, the knowledge that you are receiving now are all open to you. Any location that fades from your awareness has been occupied by someone else. So should you become aware of such a location, please just leave that location alone.
You're crazy.
Okay.
Maybe
Um,
some sand so I can practice some boomerangs.
I guess I'll role play it, but like Miles trying to figure out and ascertain what his boundaries are, and he would say, "What? How do I know what I'm doing or what magic I cast is wrong or right? How much attention can I draw to myself inadvertently?"
Um, the bunny says to you as your companions are approaching. It says to you, "We at the Mysterium place no such restrictions on fields of research. You do whatever your academic interests, whatever pursuits interests you. As for notoriety, obviously, if you were to draw undue attention to yourself, like the butcher did, we would have to cut all ties with you. However, our only policy is that you do not draw undue attention to the Mysterium itself. Whatever amount of notoriety you wish to amass for yourself is entirely up to you, as long as your efforts do not endanger the organization's goals of proliferation of magical research without
when I first
restrictions."
spawned on this map and started building
And
for
he
it,
kind of like lifts one shoulder in a one-sided shrug. The side that's not holding a teacup.
yeah, it was in
What of the registry?
I was like, holy shit.
Yes, the registry. He says, obviously the registry will not approve of your endeavors.
Don't just make fun of the dolphins.
As for which spells are legal or not, that should be fairly obvious. The ones that you can find in the registries, libraries, and academies, those are legal. The ones that you can't find, those are illegal.
I'm becoming used to working incognito. I can continue to do that.
Yeah. So this is I think the part where Thalia and Arthur and I think Seraphina's been listening in this entire time from like the ceiling.
Oh my god, there's like
Uh,
6 copies after me.
Like a mouse. Yeah. So yeah, what was it that you asked him, Thalia?
Does
Okay,
he
I'll
know
listen to it.
anyone that can restore or cancel the memory magic that was on us?
He nods his head and he says, "It is. I must confess, whoever casted it is a fairly proficient spellcaster.
I just had to let one of them
I do not have the tools on hand to dispel such a working.
Right on these rocks. It's
Um,
pretty safe.
This would require some preparation on my part. But I do possess the capacity to undo this work. I would caution you, however,
I
that
just want to build a campfire.
it may not be the best idea to recover your memories, especially if it is
This area's pretty
that
safe.
it is so fresh. Whoever casted the spell will be paying attention to your behavior to see if they have missed anything.
Am I around him as well? When
Yeah. I assume all four of you are together, and Seraphina is up on
Yeah.
like the roof behind you or something.
You have a knowledge of many things that's going on in the city, correct?
Glad things don't catch
I have some knowledge, yes.
What do you know about the crocodile in the sewers?
Oh God.
Yes, he says, yes, I believe it is a leftover malformed creature of some kind, enhanced by powerful druidic powerful druidic spells gone awry.
You, sir, are
There
the
was some
smartest person
experimentation done.
I know. Do you have any way I can track this beast?
He shakes his head and he says, I have no knowledge of its current whereabouts. I would not advise going looking for the thing, however. I know of at least three parties of similar composition to yours that have gone looking for it.
What if I had something of the beast? Could we use that to track him?
He nods and says, any tracking spell, such as the spell locate creature, would be enhanced by such an object of its-
Yeah. But that's not a cheap spell. I found that out recently. Okay. Well, I'm just happy there's someone else that knows what's going on here, and I'll look at everyone in my party that is aware that there was a giant crocodile in the sewers. I'm not insane.
Sure.
Be aware that it is not a normal crocodile.
Well, what type of crocodile is it? Because
It is unknown. The only thing that I've heard rumors about it is that it is a failed druidic experiment
if I were to run in
by rogue druids trying to usurp part of the city and turn it back into forest growth.
So if I were to find these rogue druids, they wouldn't be too keen on me hunting down this thing.
I believe the druids responsible were hanged 8 or 9 years ago by the
But if I were to find a druid possibly in the city, maybe they could help me track it down?
maybe.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
However an anthropomorphic bunny grins, he probably shows a lot of buck teeth. And he says, "Good luck finding a druid in Helios."
Listen. No one believed me about this crocodile. Be it before you. You're the only person to confirm it. Today's a good day. I'll kind of look around at my party like, I told you so.
It looks around to the rest of you with expectation, as if like, have you got anything else you want to question him?
Thalia wants to set up the memory appointment. Just her, though, because if the rest of the group's acting okay, then she can query what they know and what she knows.
Okay. It says, if you are willing to, the components required for this ritual will cost 200 gold pieces. If you're able to come up with such a sum,
She hands
can-
200 gold pieces right
Okay.
over.
yeah, you drop them. You drop the pouch or whatever into his palm, and he does something to it. He kind of like twists it in his hand, and it disappears. And it says, "Will you be free this evening?"
Are we staying in town, guys, or are we leaving?
So keep your eyes out for any like little bumps.
I have to go back to town. I have to. Now that I have the schematics, I have to see Miss Battlestone.
Milo would want to leave. We got I don't know how long we've been here, but there's like a 2-hour window to the next train came.
Yeah,
And,
you've been here
Milo's
about
got some-
just over an hour or so.
Milo's got some things that he wants to do back in town with his mending machine. But he's here with a group, so if you guys have other plans, let me know.
Thalia will get a room at the inn tonight, or the tavern tonight, and then head home in the morning then.
Would you like me to leave Marmaduke with you? He's a very good guard dog.
Arthur's gonna stay with Thalia as well.
Oh, Arthur is a better guard dog. And I mean that with all due respect there, Mr. Celine.
He just kind of smirks a little bit.
I legitimately meant it with nothing but respect, because Arthur is ridiculous. In a good way.
Okay, so you guys are splitting the party?
Apparently, myself and Milo are going back to town.
I love it. Okay.
Looking for sand.
Right. So you tell him that you'll be staying in the tavern here tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Sand.
Yeah. So he says, "Very well. I'll find you this evening at the Blue Swallow Inn." And he steps backwards. And he says, "See you then." And then he steps backwards, except backwards behind him is the wall of the building behind him. But at the very last moment, there's like a tear, like a ripping tear, and he steps backwards through a gap in the wall. And then like the tear seals up and vanishes,
There's a couple spots
leaving you
in
guys
the-
alone in this alleyway. Well, not alone. 4 people and one
This is
hanging
what we
overhead
basically did, just
from
get
the
stuff
rooftop.
underneath and then separate all of it. It spoils pretty quick.
You have to admit, they do have style when they leave.
Well, I mean, he is wearing a rabbit outfit. That's pretty odd.
That could be his head.
He's not really a rabbit,
I'm
correct?
just sad they fixed the boomerang glitch.
There's no
Arthur
way
just
he's a-
shrugs and starts walking out of the alleyway.
I guess I'd look up to Seraphine. Seraphine, are you staying with them or are you coming with us?
At any time.
Because I noticed her. There's no way I didn't notice her.
Dang, got those good old eyes. she's gonna kind of shrug. She doesn't know like what she wants to do. It's not like she has any like permanent residence or anything like that. I guess she'll stay here and kind of meander and familiarize herself because she has no idea where any of these places are.
Well, if you're staying here, stay with them too. They won't lead you wrong.
She'll just kind of nod and comply.
And if it gets dark, check out those goggles, because apparently they're amazing. I paid a lot for them. I got one too, so let me know if yours are awesome. If yours better, I'm taking them.
I paid for them, so I get the good one.
Okay, gents.
She's going to nod and thank him graciously.
I'm not sure that that's how gifts work, Rum.
Oh, no. It's exactly how it doesn't. And even if hers are better, which I doubt they are, I would expect her to say, no, they're kind of shitty.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, you guys make your farewells, I assume. And do the one thing that parties should never do.
Well, that's in, like, combat, and, like, this is the main city. This should be fine.
We've never been attacked traveling back and forth.
Guess we have.
Never. This should be fine.
He thinks about his squirrel suit in his pack, and he's like, "What could go wrong?"
Think about the train.
I think I have your squirrel suit in my pack currently.
Yeah, I think we're gonna head back.
All right. So on your way back, you guys see the Imperial Guard and the Elven Lord getting back onto.
Oh,
the
you said
carriage,
Elven
whatever.
Lord?
Yeah, the Imperial Guard is escorting an elderly elven gentleman of some stature. He's like very
Is that-
upright.
Is that the guy who got the satch, the
No.
basically the flower thing before I got there? The flower box before I got
No,
there?
no, that was a elvish lady of some
Oh.
kind.
Okay.
I was just wondering what their coat of arms were.
There's nothing worse than finding an
Was
area
it the
Uh,
Alexandria or?
you can never find
Do you
it.
get close enough to look?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so you get close enough to look. Are you being like surreptitious about this, or are you being quite like open about this?
Quite
like,
open.
talking?
She's not gonna be sly about it.
Okay.
She's just curious.
Yeah, you catch.
Are you in the base?
Yeah, you catch the coat of arms on the carriage itself. You understand that the Imperial Guard doesn't actually like. They don't work for lords.
It's like 3 cents.
They're just
So
there to guard.
why
Yeah.
why these two Imperial Guards are escorting this lord? It's unknown. By the way, I found a picture of kind of what I'd imagine the Imperial Guards would dress like. Obviously, there's one female and one male, but I've only got the picture of the female. It looks something like this.
Sand?
Nice.
That's super fancy.
Yeah, and so they get back onto the carriage, and then the carriage rolls backwards off towards the railway station. What they were doing here, you have no idea. But the coat of arms on it is a two. Actually, I'll actually draw this.
It's time for Kev's drawings.
So it is a set of hills. With the actually, I'll draw a little bit better. Set of hills, one behind another, and then like a river that flows out of the hills, and then around the edges of the hills are in a laurel wreath pattern. Is a series of overlapping thorns.
Do we recognize this house symbol?
maybe. I mean, I believe I've mentioned them before. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys recall Thornhill or not.
The name sounds familiar. But it'd be what?
So-
A wisdom or intelligence check?
History would be the check. And the DC is lower. Yeah. So yeah. Thornhill is like, if there is a, so Alexandria, Alexandria, is like the loyalist faction. Is the most powerful loyalist house of the Empress. Thornhill is the most powerful loyal opposition house of the Empress. So like obviously they still recognize her as her Empress, as their Empress. Are you familiar at all with the loyal opposition concept? It's like British parliamentary system. Like, you know, you might not necessarily agree with the Queen, but you're still the Queen's subjects and you acknowledge that fact.
Yeah.
Like that. Although why Imperial Guards should be escorting him, you're not sure. They didn't look like he was. By the way, I'll give you a little bit of context. He didn't look like he was under arrest.
It's fine. She was just curious. It's nothing important.
Okay. So yeah, you guys make your farewells at the dog park. One side goes off towards the tavern, the other side goes off to the train station. The tavern itself is actually fairly bustling. It is probably just about almost at capacity. From what you can tell, almost none of them are locals. They're all travelers waiting for either a steamboat, a different train that's headed out far off into the north, and they're just kind of using Willisbury as a way station. Yeah, and the place is lively, and unless there's something else that you want to do here, that's where I'll leave the tavern portion.
Oh, no,
Was there
my-
anywhere I could buy diamonds in this town or no?
Probably not. You didn't see any kinds of jewel lures in this place on your walkthrough.
Somebody get trained?
Okay.
Uh,
Oh,
Milo would, on the way to the train station, grab a couple of fruit pies for him and Obi.
And Obi would grab a proper couple meat pies for himself and Marmaduke.
yeah,
Yeah, but they're pretty good for knocking things out.
yeah. They are pretty good. And they're like the large pies as well, not the pot pies.
I would take the fruit pie that Milo gave me and say, I appreciate it, and try to give it to Marmaduke.
Milo would shrug and just eat his own.
Yeah. What's his name? Griffin told you the fruit pies are excellent. The meat pies are fairly decent, but they're nothing to write home about. You've had better from Baker's Bakery.
Yeah, but this is a podunk town. This is the best you're gonna get.
Yeah, you guys make it back to the train station. There's a little bit of wait. You guys actually see them loading like the carriage, Thornhill's carriage, onto the train,
You just try to
um, in like one of the trains, the compartments. No, I don't even know what it's called. I'm not a train person.
The carriage.
Car.
Carriage. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a bit of probably like a 20-minute period before you guys set off again. Nothing untoward happens during your trip south. Again, when you hit the tunnel, the shutters come down. to prevent you from inhaling smoke coming in through the windows, etc. Partway through the tunnel, there is a knock at your cabin door. Which I assume you guys closed.
Yeah, we closed it. I'll open it, but like, I'll open it and Marmaduke's kind of between my legs. Like, I don't know if you've seen the video of the guy who's training his combat dog, where he's basically between his legs the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
you
what-
open it,
Yeah.
a slice to peek through, and on the other side, kind of like smiling a little bit sheepishly at you, is Aylin Doris, and she asks you, it is you. Is the rest of your friends in?
I don't. What's the last thing I remember of Aylin?
That she was
I-
kidnapped.
That she was kidnapped. Yeah. Well, you came across the bodies of her companions, but like it was inferred to you that she was taken.
I will blush ridiculously because I am infatuated with her. And I would say, nope, it's just me, the dog, and Milo, and let her come in. I will,
Yeah.
I would not even say you need to come in. I would just say, come on in, and kind of like want her to come in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she'll come in and like take a whatever seat you offer her.
Marmaduke, move! You over there with Milo. She needs to come sit next to me.
But I'm pretty sure.
And she says, I must congratulate you on your handiwork. I heard through the grapevine that you guys were the ones who caught up to. It seems such a stupid thing now, the Brimstone Butcher.
I am just happy you're safe.
God.
Yes. It was actually kind of fortuitous. Your
Yeah, and a lot of these rocks that are
your
going on,
interruption
you
of
can
his
actually
ritual
so-
allowed me to make my getaway.
Well,
How-
we're all safe. Me and Milo and Marmaduke are heading back to town. The other people stayed where we were, but we're just heading back. We got things to do.
I mean, you're a fairly observant sort, right?
Yeah, but I'm
Actually, no, you're infatuated with her.
I am infatuated with her.
She is making a lot of eye contact with you. Like,
Oh, wow. Hey,
a lot of eye contact with you.
I would say, hold on, what's the name of that place? They pulled my notes. Listen, Aylin, I don't know what you're doing, but when you get back, there's a bar that makes the best steaks.
Okay, what do you want the
I would love for you to come with me.
right outside?
I think that's the Stumble Inn Tavern.
It may, I don't know, my
Yeah, it might be.
notes are
Yeah.
yeah. But that would be fantastic. You, me, have
Bring
steaks,
Marmaduke.
maybe some. No, I'll let Marmaduke. Milo can take Marmaduke home. You, me, couple steaks, maybe some wine. I don't really drink alcohol anymore, but if you wanted wine, I would buy it for you. I'm being very overt.
Yeah,
with-
yeah. She gives you a, like, I don't know how you would interpret it, but I would just say that she gives you a look, like she was making a lot of eye contact before, but like
She's digging it. That's fine.
There's-
She's digging it. I know
there
what's
is
going on.
there is a intensity slash
Oh, well, madam, I'm not a fast mover. I'm just saying, just dinner and wine and tea.
Milo, since you're a third party and you're not infatuated with her, roll me an insight check on your part, actually.
Because we're leveling up so fast, and it'd be kind of bad if we couldn't.
Actually,
already did.
you've already rolled an insight check, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So you can tell that her look is not so much like maybe there's something there, but like he might be misinterpreting it because from what your judgment of her like soul gazing, quote unquote, is more of like she's looking for something, like there's a certain amount of intense scrutiny. She's like searching his eyes for something. In which case she responds to you.
That would be
Obadiah, she's-
to Obi.
But yeah, as she responds to you and says, "Yes, maybe. Do you mean tonight?"
As soon as we get back, I would love to. You, me, will paint the town red, and I'll mean that as instantly as possible.
She gets a strange look on her face.
Some of their ingredients.
Yeah, like a not really like a the fuck expression, but like close.
Yeah, no, it's just what he would say.
My God, you're a ham.
And then she's going to turn towards you, Milo, and she's going to glance at you for a moment, and she says, "Well, surely you must have business already planned for tonight."
Did she say that directly at Milo, or
No. She says it to. She glances at Milo, turns back to you, and then says that.
Well, I have things I should do, but nothing that's worth more than a dinner between you and I.
Actually, she'll say yes. As flattering as your invitation is for tonight, I'm afraid I have already pre-existing business. However, I would love to go to this stumble in. Did you actually tell her the name? I didn't think so.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just
So
and the moment she's like, you know what? I can get the steaks and have them cooked. I will bring them anywhere. And what kind of wine do you like? Red or white? I've stopped drinking. It was a bad part of my life. But a sophisticated woman as yourself obviously enjoys some sort of wine. Whatever you want, let me know. I will bring it.
okay, yeah. She'll actually say, tell you what. I am not doing anything the day after tomorrow. I like to go out and hang out at this bell tower near the Rosewoods, where you can see the entire city from the rooftops. And she'll like reach into her belt pouch, pull out a slip of paper, and then she writes like an address on it. And while she does so, she glances up like 3 or 4 times at you, and then she puts the piece of paper face down, slides it across to your side of the table, and then says, "Yes, I am very glad that you are you and are your other friends all right?"
Yeah, everyone's fine. I mean, they're just handling a couple things. Everything's good. It's kind of like the post butcher, issue celebration. We had to handle a couple things. How do you like your steaks, by the way? I need to remember.
Medium rare.
Okay, you know what? I'm more of a rare guy myself, but if you want medium rare, that's fine. No, everyone's fine. We got back. We kind of had like a little mini party. We handled it, and it's just we had to do things. Errands from our we're kind of rat catchers. We have a very weird career path, but there's just things we have to do. But everyone's
Yes.
happy. Everyone's good.
I'm very glad to hear that.
I'm very glad you're here with me. With us. I'm
This,
sorry, with us.
strip of sand
She,
has its
she
own
gets like a
I really
small
like
quirk of
those.
her. Like it occurs to you that this is probably like she's being fairly intense this entire time. Like this is the first time she's quirked a bit of a smile, and she says, "Yes, well, I just wanted to touch base and make sure you and your friends were all right after your deal with the butcher."
Yeah, the moment I got back, I heard you were in the hospital, and I wanted to come visit you and bring you some flowers. But you know, this happens. We had to go visit something, and we just had things to do. And everyone said, "No, you'd be fine." And the fact that you're here makes me happy. Very happy to see you.
She smiles at you, and then she turns and um, nods at Milo and says, "Well, I won't disturb you any further, and I've got places. I've got a couple of more visits that I have to get to."
How is Marmaduke acting this entire time? Just so I know.
I mean, Marmaduke wasn't involved at any time during the situation, was he?
No, but he has a very keen sense of smell.
Yeah, I mean, no, Marmaduke doesn't detect anything
Okay, that's fine.
weird about the situation. Um, yeah, and she once again she as she stands and gets prepared to leave and say, yes, so I will see you day after tomorrow, and please give your friends my regards.
At the moment she leaves, I'm kind of gonna like smack Milo in the chest and say, "Oh, she's into me. You saw it."
And about probably like 5 minutes after she left, you guys exit the tunnel system, and the shutters come back up. And you know, it's like sunset. The sun is like on the horizon, starting to go down. You figure that by the time you get back to town, it will be probably just after like 6 or 7.
The entire time after that, I'm gonna just kind of bother Milo. Well, you know, Arthur, he has a family, and you know, I mean, she was digging me, and I mean, I'm ready for, I'm ready to settle down and maybe have a child or two.
Right.
Um,
So, yeah, the note. What did you do with it?
I guess when she left, I'd look at it. I'm assuming it's just an address, but
Yeah, it's a post-it note basically. Roll me a perception check.
Oh, let me show you where the metal spawns in at.
one sec.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. You detect an odd odor from the note.
I'll
Um,
I'll sniff it, and then I kind of like push it down to like Marmaduke and see it, let him smell it.
yeah. It kind of like wrinkles its nose and then does the little dog sneeze. But yeah, when you hold it up to your nose, it's like, it's a rich smell. It's like it almost reminds you of lamp oil or like camphor oil or some sort of like
Does that smell odd to you? And I'll shove it under Milo's nose.
That's more hide, you can get a metal pick.
yeah, Milo sniffs it. Perception.
yeah. I think now that he's pointed it out, it would be an investigation.
Yeah, here, follow me, I'll show you where the metal spawns.
So you
Oh, need water.
taking a close look at it, and you've got the eyes of minute seeing, don't you?
Yeah, I thought it was just on visual. So I'm
Yeah,
just something
yeah.
I'm looking at. Yeah, I'll throw
Yes.
them on and see what I see.
Yeah, you detect faint discoloration on the piece of paper, and that's where the smell seems to be emanating from. And upon closer observation, the discoloration looks like it could be script or writing.
Am I detecting that it's in a language I understand, or does it seem arcane?
It's hard to actually read. It doesn't, apart from the faint discoloration, it doesn't leave any kind of markings for you to be able to read.
If he hasn't noticed it already, I pointed out to Obi.
Yeah, and now that he's pointed it out to you, you recall that this is an not really an old trick, but like a rare, because this substance is so expensive. It's like a rare form of oil that certain smugglers and criminal types use to write secret notes to each other. And the reason why it's so rare and it's so expensive is because in order to read the note, the oil only turns opaque. It only turns color when it's heated to a fairly significantly high temperature. Typically, temperature is high enough to set the piece of paper on fire.
Oh, did she just whammy me? She whammied me, didn't she? This isn't right. Never trust a pretty face. Never trust a pretty face.
So yeah, in order to read the script, you would basically have to set the piece of paper on fire.
Well, if that's what I'd have to do, I would do it.
Okay.
Because
So
never trust a
you
pretty face.
you land you I guess you light a candle or something. You hold
Well,
the piece of paper over.
Are we still on the train or have we departed?
Well, it's up to you guys.
I would, if we, you know what, I would wait till we departed and kind of, I would head to Battlestone, but like between, I know where Milo has to go and like the break off point, I kind of pull him into a corner and like light it where there's no one else there. So there's no one else possibly watching us, and then light it and see what it says. Or what he can glean from it.
Before he lights it, Milo would say, she was into you, but she seemed to be trying to size you up more than figure out if she wanted a date or not.
Well, I mean, let's see what this says, and then I'll light it.
All right. So you light a candle and you hold the piece of paper over the flame. And as far as you understand, the piece of paper basically has to be on fire before this thing is hot enough for you to be able to read the script. But much to your surprise, like moments after you put the piece of paper over the candle flame, and
before I light it on fire, I'm gonna write down everything on the note so I still have it.
It's just a simple address, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down the address so I have it in case this is just whatever. Well,
Okay,
I want to keep where I'm supposed to go, but
so you hold the piece of paper over the flame, and much to your surprise, before it even starts to brown, like much before you expect the writing to start showing up, you see faint traces of writing show up, and it says, "I'm just not that into you."
Oh.
But then as the piece of paper burns, like catches on fire and starts to burn, that script suddenly vanishes for whatever reason. And underneath it, on the piece of paper, is written, if you have any questions or something doesn't, no, if something does not seem right and you have questions, and the next part is underlined twice, keep them to yourself. Tell no one. Your life, underlined, our lives depend on it. And then underneath that, no one. And then the piece of paper burns up.
Well, this is just shit.
Milo puts a hand on Obi's shoulder.
You know, everyone in the department before I came here, they're like, no, don't ever fall in love because the career, it's too much. But no, I decide, oh, maybe I'll. And anyways, well, do you have any questions apparently we shouldn't ask? Because we should ask her because she knows everything, but she's not that into me, so you know what? I don't give a fuck about her.
What do you think after that burned? What do you think that referred to?
I don't care, and I start to head towards Battlestone's house. Very indignant and very hurt.
Maybe she's playing hard to get.
Nope,
Doubts.
nope. There's something odd. Do me a favor. Can you take Marmaduke home? I might be a couple days. There's food for him in my bedroom. Just give him the dry stuff.
Where are you going?
You know I gotta go see the lady who helps me make my guns. I gotta repair mine, and I gotta hand her this paperwork, and I want to show her the schematics from the dart gun.
All right. So
Which I made the schematics for the dart gun on the first day back.
before we end this session, by the way, let's just say that by the next time the next session starts, we've fast forwarded 2 days so that you guys had basically got enough time to get a long rest and mucked about, and Obadiah, you would have been able to build this device with Battlestone. By the way, Battlestone has a gift for you when you give her the schematics for this device, and it is a rifled barrel. Except the rifling inside is unlike anything you've ever seen before. Instead of rifling, it appears to be like, in the same form that rifling would be, except it appears to be just all spell glyphs.
Oh wow, that would be rather crazy.
And when you test install it onto a firing platform, so not an actual gun, but just like a platform for you to fire a round through this barrel, there is no sound. When you fire, there is sound, but the sound is the sound of like an object flying very, very fast through the air. So there is like a whip crack, but there's no like percussion boom, and there's no like gas explosion.
All right, well, you and I will discuss that later because I don't know what's going on.
And at the end of the basically when you guys finally are able to build this thing together, actually it's not actually just you two, it's a work of about a dozen people. She gets like a dozen different, you meet like 10 other people who have various other fields of expertise. There are tinkerers, there are spell mechanics, there are arcane there are glyphmancers and all other type of things, but they managed to build 2 working prototypes, and Battlestone gifts one of them to you. And it is
Yeah, exactly, Doug. I had your, hey.
I mean, I'll let you name it, but I can tell you what it does.
Please do.
So mechanically speaking, when you fire this weapon, when a creature is struck by this weapon, and the attack is a critical hit, you ignore the damage dice rolls. It is automatically maximum for both dice. And additionally, any creature killed by a crit in this manner dies in the most violent way possible. And that's it.
Hey, that's brutal. And there's no sound. It's like a very small.
Combine that with the spellwork barrel. And by the way, the spellwork barrel is worked in the caliber of a rifle round. Although that doesn't necessarily mean you can't shorten it down to a pistol that fires rifle rounds.
Well, what I would like to do is I'm gonna take the hyena rifle that's basically just fucked and put that barrel into it.
Yeah. So the thing that you guys built is a receiver. So yeah.
Basically, yeah. All right, and
Yeah,
I'm going
you can
to
throw both the barrel and the receiver in there. Yeah.
And I am going to call it. Hold on, I have something for it.
Actually, there's a bit of an oddity with the barrel as well. Whenever you fire, there's a momentary field of silence around you. So like you'll be speaking or talking, or someone else will be talking, and then you'll fire your gun, and then for about half a second afterwards, it's just pitch silent, like you're in the middle of a very very small silence field.
I'm going to name this gun Griswold's Revenge. Griswold being the dwarf that trained me to be a detective, and was murdered by a
Alright.
spawn.
Thalia, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you are very very annoyed because the bunny never showed up during the night. Like you waited all night, up to fairly late, and he never showed up, and you're quite annoyed. Obviously being stood up. But in the morning when you wake, I assume you go to bed.
Eventually.
In the morning when you wake, you remember everything.
That's neat.
So sometime during the night someone did some non-consensual greater restorationing.
Okay. Now we just gotta check with them to see what was forgotten. Actually, since Arthur is here, she'd probably query Arthur. She'd write down what her questions are and what his answers were.
Yeah, so you remember quite vividly Aelin Thores quite upset and apologizing profusely, but proceeding to throw you into a hole.
Thalia's not really upset about that.
And then you remember the trek through the passageway, meeting the voice in the dark. I forgot what you guys called him.
Nothing man, basically. He didn't have a name.
The Forgotten.
Yeah, the Forgotten. And you remember seeing the...
Yes, but I just need to find out what happened, why we lost our memories. But she'd remember that too at this point.
Yeah, you remember that too. You remember that
I'll write
Morgan
down. I'll write down what Morgan said later.
and it was through your pocket watches.
Yeah. So Thalia, whenever she goes to a new town, is going to start looking for a ring of mind shielding.
Okay, do you inquire for a ring of mind shield?
She would ask the Mysterium, or not the Mysterium, the Mycrofts, yeah.
Yeah, Mycroft would inform you that such items that deal with mind magics are banned by the registry. The closest you can come is a ring of psychic protection, and he points towards the cabinet full of rings.
Would that help, or would that give me help versus someone who's trying to change my memories?
I believe that type of magics is more of a curse than anything. I don't think they actually go into your mind and erase the memory. They just place a curse upon you that prevents you from accessing those memories. But then again, I'm not an arcane not theologist.
Yeah.
It's not a theologist. I'm not an arcane theorist.
So she's gonna at that point thank him for the time and then go to where they last met the White Rabbit.
Yeah, he's not there.
I'm guessing this is a house they regularly use, so she's gonna put to the White Rabbit. She's gonna draw a rabbit with a huge time clock on him. Inquiring about Mind Shield Ring. And then she'll just write down her name.
Excellent.
Well, she'll write down.
I will actually note that.
She'll write down just simply Thalia with Thalia Milo. and then she'll just leave.
Yeah. So how do you? What's the conversation between Thalia and Arthur when you get your memories back and he does not?
At the moment she's gonna keep it to herself, but she will tell him that she remembers what happened after we encountered the butcher. But she'd
And
rather
is-
be there
is-
for the rest with the rest of the party.
Okay.
Arthur will say, at least tell me who did it before we approach the rest of the party.
Don't trust Morgan.
And then he'll say, well, at least it wasn't Milo.
Nah. It couldn't have been Milo.
By the way, Milo, I would like to give you inspiration because
for
that's fucking terrible.
making everybody paranoid.
Sure, I'll go with that.
He'll suggest that Milo could have. We don't know what Milo does during his downtime. He could have gone and purchased a magic to do that to us. We don't know. But it's good to know that I don't have to mistrust him.
We can trust Orin, but we can't trust Morgan.
He'll just nod.
It occurs to you that Dolman has had his memory modified as well.
Yeah. But she's not exactly sure how to get Orin to mistrust Morgan. She might have to wait until Morgan takes another trip somewhere else.
All right. I assume you guys head back to town after this.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you guys take a train ride back or a boat ride back, whichever you want. And nothing untoward happens the entire way. And I'll say, you guys do whatever you do, downtime activity, relaxing for the next day, and you get a long rest in. I will actually award you guys some extra XP for a completely RP session. In fact, I'm gonna bump up progression a little bit so that you guys level a little bit faster. So I will actually be. I think I awarded you guys like 1,000 XP last session.
Yes.
I'll give
Yep.
you 2,000 each for this session.
Nice.
Could I have found diamonds inside of Helios?
Yeah, definitely. And there's actually like the priests. There's like an arraignment shop or whatever. Not really a shop, but like a place that you can go and they even sell like powdered diamonds, as if like.
Yeah, it's easy to powder your own diamonds.
Yeah, and it's also easier to split into the exact quantity that you want. And it actually the bag actually has writing on it, like a warning label, like for stupid people, and it says not for internal, not for ingestion. And also do not inhale.
Well, that seems smart.
Imagine snorting diamonds. I mean, one, you'd probably kill your esophagus and your nostrils.
It'd be pretty
That would be
deadly.
bad. Yeah. In
Alright.
so we're gonna have a couple days downtime at least.
Yeah. And by the way, Seraphina and Arthur, your goggles of night work perfectly. It's actually a little bit airy because, like, it allows you to see out to 60 feet in almost pitch blackness.
Yeah, he does mean Doobie. I'm just gonna machine my ballistic mask so the goggles and lights fit in.
Yeah.
It's kind
In
of
fact-
like salt. It's kind of like just like the inner circle of the eyes need to be widened.
Yeah, and in fact, you can fit the weird little owl flanges on the side, like inside your mask,
Yeah,
so that it
well,
doesn't show outside like some weird.
But between later, if you want to think, since I no longer need a suppressor on my rifle, I'm going to try to convert it to the pistol. And the old armor I had,
That will
What do I
lower
need
its
to do
range,
just-
by the way.
for the rifle, or the
Yeah, if you were to
pistol?
convert a rifle into a pistol, it would lower.
No,
its
no, I'm going to convert the rifle, my old rifle's suppressor, since I no longer need a suppressor
okay.
for
I
my
understand.
rifle, to the pistol. I'm sorry, and my old armor, the vest, I'm going to try to convert it to dog armor.
Sure.
I
Sure.
mean, it's going to be scavenged and rough and just not pretty, but I just don't want Marmaduke to die.
Sure. I won't even make you make a roll for that. Yeah, you can, over the course of the day, you can do that, sure.
Yep,
All
that's all I
right.
want.
I think that's where we'll leave it for today. Thanks for
Sweet
playing,
deal.
everyone.
I'm happy.
Just
Good.
to put a bug in your ear about the Milo's. It's gonna be a while for Milo's mending mobile is ready, but there was patents that Milo put in and theoretically could be making money on. So I just want to
Yeah.
keep an ear out for that, I guess.
By the way, could you send me the link for that episode so I can review the exact specifics of it? Because I'll be honest, I've forgotten about half of it.
Yeah, that's fine. I got it, and I got it noted in the comments a couple places with a couple things.
So yeah, the ball is in Thalia's court, I guess, since she's the only one who remembers.
Yeah.
Although during the day of downtime, Obi, do you at any point meet up with the other? No, actually, Obi or Milo, do you at any point meet up with the others and
Obi
share the message
Far
that?
too busy with his either converting his rifle to the silenced barrel
Okay.
to the silencer. He's way too busy for that.
So then, I guess I should ask Milo then. Milo, do you at any point meet up the others and share with the message that Aelin left you guys with?
Yeah, he would be studying. He would be at Beacon Hill studying his magic and learning new spells and whatnot. At least for like a day and a half of that. So at some point during his downtime, he'd be relaxing somewhere when he saw the rest of the group. If they came back to Beacon Hill, he would explain what happened.
So basically, you guys say that Aelin was hitting on Obi?
He came at her.
Reverse that.
Oh, Obi was hitting on Aelin, yeah.
Infatuated, totally not himself. Milo seems a little bit like concerned, and then he says, "She was eyeing him up like like she wanted something, but not what he wanted."
Yeah, she did.
Did you mention the note?
Yep. I would tell you about the note, and that it was set on fire. And I would leave out the part about the I'm not that into you. Leave that part out.
But did it tell the meeting place?
Yeah, it did give an address if I remember correctly. Am I right about that?
Yes, it
Yeah.
gave an address.
I actually had an address on the note before it was burned, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah. The address was the obvious part in the hidden ink.
Don't lie to these people. She's super into me.
The hidden ink had a message that said, "Well, does Milo want to recap the message?"
The hidden ink basically said that I'll see if I can get this right. Watch what you say. Shoot, I wish I would have written down, but it's watch what you say. Ah,
Keep your questions to yourself.
yeah, keep your questions to yourself.
Oh, it said.
I
That's
mean,
part of what it said. It said, uh, if you think something is wrong, if you have questions, and then underline, keep them to yourself. Your lives, our lives, depend upon it.
I mean, but who? How much can you trust a woman that likes a steak that's medium rare? Come on now.
And then tell no one, and then underline triple E, no one.
If you think something is wrong, what's the next line?
If you have questions,
Okay.
keep them to yourselves. Tell no one. Your lives depend on it. Our lives.
Hold
No,
on, I
your
can't write
lives.
that fast. Keep them to. If you have questions, keep them to yourselves.
Your lives. And then triple underline, our lives depend upon it. And then underneath that is repeated again, no one, in all caps.
Only thing that are underlined is no one an hour.
No. The words that were underlined, yeah, were no one and our.
Okay. We can roleplay this part next time, but Thalia would go to the meeting place. Probably around dusk.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be next time. This will be after your long rest.
How much to make the Cogtum's ointment, Kev?
I believe it was like 300 gold.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't quite remember as well.
I'm gonna have to set up a OneNote for this game or something. I got things in like 3 different notebooks.
Oh, I did take a note for it. It says 100 GP spent, 1 Cogtum's ointment.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If it's I'll trust your judgment. Yeah, it's 100 GP then.
Could I attempt to make one before we go?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, guidance, of course. Oh boy. Hey,
Yeah,
I made it.
Made it. Yeah. I mean, not even close. Well, it is pretty close, but you made it by 1. No, by 2.
Yeah, because meter beat. Seraphina's still here.
I am here.
So I'm going to give you one of the Cogtum's ointments.
That's sweet. Thank you.
and he'll say, "I know you're new, but don't die."
I'll do my best.
Dying's expensive.
Cool.
All
I'm
right,
gonna go play games with my
I'm-
roommate.
I'm actually kind of getting used to non-combat sessions. Remember back in the days when I was like, I felt all weird when we didn't have a combat during a session?
I think in Backwater, I was in your first game without combat. That mining thing we did, or
Yeah.
the logging, was it the logging camp where everybody was
Yeah.
acting weird?
Yeah, it was weird because I fully expected, like, I had like 3 different combat encounters written for that one, and like you guys just nope to all of them.
A lot of times they're the most fun.
There
Gotta have-
was one potential combat encounter for this one, but I didn't think you guys were going to get into that, so it's fine.
I am good for next week. I'm out of town. I'm in Tennessee the week after that, and then I'm in North Carolina the week after that, so I'll be unavailable for those 2 weeks. I'll have through my phone. I can listen in, or but that for both of those, that wouldn't be a problem. But as far as getting onto Roll20, I probably won't be able to.
Okay, for the entire week, or
Well, let me correct that. No, I'm good for. I'm sorry, my schedule's nuts right now. For the week, for next week, because I'm looking at the date and it's Tuesday for me right now. So for Monday the 7th, I'm actually good. And for the 14th, I'm good. But the 21st, I am not that week. And I am gone all the way till Friday. Sometime Friday, I come back.
Okay.
So it's actually just that 1 week. I forgot, because I'm only going for I'll be in Tennessee for 24 hours.
by the way, Milo, that was brutal.
Obi has love, don't take it from him.
In fact, I'm gonna give Obadiah inspiration for that one as well.
Sweet.
You went all in.
He loves that crazy bitch.
But hey, apparently she's not that into you.
You know what? It's better than, oh my god, I'm a vampire, let me murder you.
All right. I'm gonna hop off for a bit. I've got my auntie and my uncle coming over shortly from Taiwan. So
Toodaloo.
Have fun with family. And
yeah,
thanks for the game.
no worries. I'll be honest. I'm always a little bit nervous before we start playing. And
We
then
always have
after
fun.
we get. Thank you. After we get started, it's a lot better.
Yeah,
A lot of
these,
fun.
these are always good. If my remembrance or my typing skills were better, or my my shorthand, I think I would remember a lot more.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know if it's just me or like other people seem to have like awesome memories, and my memory is just absolutely terrible.
I
That
have
goes
that
on-
problem too.
My memory sucks, and then I'm writing stuff down, but literally I'll write it one place. So I actually bought a notebook just for this game, so that in the future I'll just write in this one
That's
notebook.
funny.
All right. Have a good night.
Night.
Toodaloo.